Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles. Chapter 2787. In the process of heading to the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace with the young deity, Longchen fabricated a world for him. After all, it was not convenient to talk about the dragon sacrificial continent. Of course, he used the dragon sacrificial continent as the model, coupled with what he had seen and heard in the Spirit Essence Star Ocean, as well as the few worlds he had passed by. A flat piece of land? It said that in the myriad worlds, the most common world is a huge planet, followed by land. It said that there's only one world like our Builder Tree in the myriad worlds, so we are indeed very unique. Speaking of this, Qing was very proud. Through the conversation, he found out that the world Longchen was in was called the Firmament Continent. There were a total of 12 gods, and the strongest was only a divine monarch at the primordial realm. It is much more difficult for you to become the strongest in a world than to become a divine monarch here. However, there are only 1 trillion living beings in your world, which is indeed quite a small number. Speaking of which, the feeling of being a supreme being at the peak must be wonderful. If I were you, I would definitely not want to travel the myriad worlds if I could control a world, because there are just too many experts in the myriad worlds. Qing said emotionally. Longchen smiled and said, "That is indeed what I thought when I became the strongest in the beginning. However, it has been going on for countless years, and everyone is bowing to me. After a long time, I will also feel bored and annoyed. Moreover, the feeling of not being able to improve my cultivation is really uncomfortable, so I chose to travel. You will experience this feeling when you become the controller of the Builder Tree." No, that is absolutely impossible. Qing was shocked. He did not dare to think of becoming the strongest in the Builder Tree. If the elders knew about it, he would definitely be punished. However, he agreed with what Longchen said. "I really admire you. A powerful deity with a goal should constantly challenge his own limits." He seemed to have become familiar with him. Longchen used the Eye of Wishes while conversing with him to obtain information regarding the Builder Tree Divine Heaven Palace. Finally, he found out that the Builder Tree Divine Heaven Palace had a total of 5 final realm godly kings, which were the 5 heavenly venerables. Then, there were actually 10 perfected realm godly kings, collectively known as the 10 great sacred venerables. There were also more than 10 primordial realm godly kings. The dragon sacrificial deities didn't have that many god kings, but there was a god emperor. It was indeed a miracle, and it wasn't an ordinary god emperor. It was the same for the Phoenix clan. Although there were many god kings at the Great Perfection realm, they couldn't do anything to Longchen. Longchen was mainly afraid of a total of 10 ultimate god kings. Oh right, what exactly is the Builderwood Saint's soul that the demonic beast mentioned just now? Ah. The young god was shocked. Seeing that there was no one around, he dared to whisper to Longchen, "The Builderwood Saint's soul is the most mystical and precious thing in the world of the Builder Tree. It exists inside the Builder Tree and is the soul of this entire world. Anyway, it's very important. Whoever possesses the Builderwood Saint's soul can make the entire race prosper and constantly produce experts. Now that the Builderwood Saint's soul has been held by the human race for millions of years, the Phoenix clan is anxious. Their new generation is already inferior to us. Oh, it was impossible for a world to have a soul. Therefore, although it was called the Builderwood Saint's soul, it might not have anything to do with the Builder Tree." Longchen asked again, "Then, do you know what the Builderwood Saint's soul looks like?" Qing shook her head and said, "It's best if you don't ask too much. If the other gods find out, I'm afraid they will suspect your motives. If you want to stay in the Jinmu Holy Tree for a little longer, you still have to abide by the rules here. After all, this is no longer your previous world. I also have to let the elders see you to confirm if what you said is true." "Oh, that's fine. I'm just asking out of curiosity." Longchen didn't mind. The most important thing was to know the general strength of the Builder Tree gods. Now that he had a basis, he wasn't afraid of appearing in front of the gods of the Builder Tree. "We're here." The Builder Tree Divine Palace was in front of them. It was a huge palace comparable to the Origin Dragon Palace. It was pure white like a celestial palace, surrounded by celestial chi. It was built at the core of the Builder Tree. This was actually an order-level creation artifact. Grade 5. To be honest, a Grade 5 creation artifact was already considered a very precious item in the infinite worlds. There were not many god kings who could possess it. In this Builder Tree Divine Palace, there were about 1,000 gods. Entering this Builder Tree Divine Palace is equivalent to being imprisoned by the master of this place. It won't be so easy to get out. However, if I don't even dare to enter the Builder Tree Divine Palace, how can I find the Origin Dragon Soul? Longchen followed the young god Wan Qing and approached the magnificent palace. Qinger, how is it? Yang Lingqing said, this position should be the closest to the Origin Dragon Soul. If I'm not wrong, it should be suppressed under the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. The Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace should be blocking a gap. Oh, in that case, the Builder Tree Saint Soul they were talking about is 80% the Origin Dragon Soul of the Spirit Dragon. It seems like this is really fate. The world we came to for the first time actually has an Origin Dragon Soul. This time, Longchen swore not to rest until he obtained the Origin Dragon Soul. Once he obtained it, he decided to leave this place. Of course, he also wanted to know more about the infinite worlds. However, Wan Qing didn't know much, so he had to ask the stronger gods. Wan Qing had already informed the interior of the Builder Tree Divine Palace. There were several gods guarding the door, but they were all at the Taiji Divine Realm and weren't considered strong. Longchen's Divine Kingdom had a bunch of them. Seeing Wan Qing bring Longchen over, they bowed slightly and looked straight ahead as if they couldn't see Longchen. Following Wan Qing, he entered the Builder Tree Deity Celestial Palace. It was another world inside, a forest that stretched as far as the eye could see. Only the noblest of people could live here. To ordinary people, this was simply a world of gods. The entire Builder Tree Divine Palace, the gods, and some important people or geniuses from all over the Builder Tree Divine Tree numbered about 10,000 people. They were the core of the Builder Tree human race. Wan Qing brought Longchen to a palace not far from the palace. They hadn't even entered the depths of the Builder Tree Divine Palace. Wan Qing's expression changed a little. He said, "Wait here for a while. My master will come to see you first. Then, he will bring you to see the 5 celestial venerables. We need to confirm your identity." As he spoke, he was about to leave. "Why aren't you here to accompany me, Wan Qing?" Longchen smiled at him. This made Wan Qing nervous. "Don't worry. My master definitely won't do anything to you as long as you don't harbor any ulterior motives." Wan Qing's eyes burned with passion. From the looks of it, he still had his doubts. "Wan Qing, get out." At this time, a deep and heavy voice rang out. From the darkness of the palace, a middle-aged man wearing a long green robe walked out. His eyes were dark green and his body was slender. What was most special about him was that his eyebrows were extremely long, like long hair that hung down his back. This man's entire body exuded a kind of sovereign pressure and divine might. He had been secretly fighting against Longchen and wanted to suppress Longchen the moment he appeared. "All right." Wan Qing hurriedly retreated. The palace closed and suddenly transformed into a small world, sealing Longchen within. This was another creation divine artifact, but it was a creation-grade creation divine artifact. It belonged to the man in front of him. He was a god monarch, similar to the god monarch of hell. He was a primordial god monarch. To have a primordial god monarch as his master, it seemed that Wan Qing's status was not low. "I'm Sovereign Mu. You're Yangchen, right? You're from the firmament continent." After restraining Longchen, the man squinted his eyes and looked at Longchen. To him, victory was in his grasp. From the moment Wan Qing met him, he had sent a message to Sovereign Mu. It was Sovereign Mu's idea to lure him here. Now that it was a time of war, he had to be extremely careful, especially to guard against the spies sent by the Phoenix clan. Long Chen knew what they were guarding against. However, to obtain the origin dragon soul, he had to go deep into their territory to create more opportunities. He was not worried, because he was not a spy of the Phoenix clan. So he said straightforwardly, "Are you Wan Qing's master?" "That's right, I'm Yang Chen." "In that case, you should know the content of my conversation with Wan Qing. But why are you so cautious? Are you suspecting that I'm a spy of the Phoenix clan?" Sovereign Emu smiled and said, "Just now, you said that you were a human from another world. It was indeed easy to fool us. The Phoenix clan must have thought so too, so they sent you here. Now that you've been exposed, what do you want to do?" As he spoke, he walked towards Long Chen step by step. Long Chen was only a divine lord at the primordial god realm, so it was naturally easy for him to capture Long Chen. So he was not worried at all. Long Chen smiled and said, "Then I'm curious. If the Phoenix clan had my help, they wouldn't need a spy at all. They could just start a war and annihilate the Jinmu clan." Sovereign Emu was startled and couldn't help but laugh. He said, "You're quite calm. You're still joking with me at this time." Long Chen said, "Indeed, joking with me at this time is purely courting death. So if Sovereign Emu wants to kill me, you might as well do it earlier." He had already said it to this extent. "You seem to be very confident." He was not so sure, so he asked in return. Long Chen did not answer, but looked at him with a smile. Even Sovereign Emu was stunned by him. "You've succeeded. I'd like to try and see how strong you are." As soon as Sovereign Emu said this, he saw Long Chen's eyes, the heavenly eye of destiny in his left eye and the eye of desire in his right eye. The heavenly eye of destiny instantly suppressed Sovereign Emu to his knees, while the eye of desire made him stretch out his hands to strangle his throat and torture him. During this process, Sovereign Emu's eyes were wide open and he could not break free at all. He would not cause trouble now that there were so many experts. The God Kings did not move for the time being. Long Chen looked at each and every one of them. To be honest, he had never seen so many God Kings in his life. This was just a mere builder tree. It seemed that there were countless experts in the infinite realms. Even the God realm of Grand Beginning, the King of Gods, seemed to be nothing. "Friend, welcome to our builder tree and our builder tree divine celestial palace." At this moment, the 5 strongest God Kings appeared. They stood in front of all the other God Kings. These 5 were probably the strongest that Long Chen had seen in his life. Of course, the dragon attendant and the others were not included. The 5 of them were final godly monarchs, equivalent to Devil Wa at her peak. They were the 5 celestial venerables of the Builder Tree celestial race. They looked different and were good at different laws, but they were all related to trees. This was probably the unique characteristic of the Builder Tree celestial race. But the same thing was that the 5 celestial venerables gave Long Chen a rather dangerous feeling. It was very terrifying. It made him deeply understand that he had to pay attention to these 5 guys. After all, these 5 were characters who had ruled the Builder Tree celestial race for tens of millions of years. Fortunately, on the surface, they did not seem to have any ill intentions for the time being. It was just nice that he could make use of them. If he wanted to get the origin dragon soul, it was impossible to grasp the opportunity without understanding them. Unless Long Chen could defeat the 5 of them together, he would not have to put in so much effort. Long Chen smiled and said, "Junior greets the 5 celestial venerables. I believe Sovereign Emu has already explained my origin to you. I do come from another world, and I am also the strongest person in that world. But my real combat power is not only at the divine monarch level. However, it's not right for me to wander around in your territory. So, if you need me, the 5 heavenly venerables can also let me know. Just treat it as making friends. If the 5 of you don't mind that I'm weak," Central Heavenly Venerables Baron smiled, "of course I don't mind. Of course, they were still deeply guarded against Long Chen. Guarded against, used. What they valued was Long Chen's strength. He could easily defeat Emperor Imu, and could indeed be of great help to the Builder Tree race. No matter what his purpose was, as long as they used him well, they could deal a heavy blow to the Phoenix race. This must be the real intention of the 5 celestial venerables. I mind. At this moment, a discordant voice was heard, and the gods hurriedly retreated, making way for a path. In Long Chen's vision, a green-haired, brown-eyed young man walked over with an enchanting female deity in his arms. His eyes were evil, and his expression was arrogant, very domineering. Although there were elders around, he didn't care, and his hands moved up and down the female deity's body, causing the woman to keep whining, and her eyes were blurred. Who is this? To dare to be so arrogant in front of the 5 celestial venerables, and even talk back, and be so unrestrained, his identity should be very special, especially when they saw him appear. Almost all the deities were secretly afraid, and quickly retreated, worried that they would block this guy's path. Green Lightning Saint, who is he with again? Isn't that Yu Yan? Isn't she with Wan Qing? Chapter 2789. The process was interrupted. Long Chen looked over carefully. Since that young god was called Green Lightning Holy Venerate, he should be one of the Holy Venerates. The Jianmu celestial race had 5 heavenly venerates and 10 holy venerates, and the strength of the 10 holy venerates was at the perfection realm God-King realm. This Green Lightning Saint Venerable was the youngest among the 10 Saint Venerables, which was why he was so unique. However, since he dared to be so arrogant in front of the 5 heavenly venerables, he should have some other identity. He's so young, yet his cultivation base has already reached the great perfection realm. There's no such person in the dragon sacrifice pantheon. It seems like Sacred Venerate Green Lightning is the strongest genius in the entire Builder Tree human race. He was definitely the future successor that the 5 heavenly venerables had groomed. He was even their hope of defeating the Phoenix race. However, the Taiji divine realm deity called Yu Yan in his arms was someone that Wan Qing liked. She and Wan Qing used to be a couple. No matter what, the appearance of Green Lightning Saint Venerable attracted everyone's attention. No one paid attention to Long Chen anymore. Yu Yan. Wan Qing's entire body trembled, and his eyes were bloodshot. He looked at Green Lightning Saint Venerable and the enchanting goddess in his arms furiously. What are you doing? Tell him. Green Lightning Saint Venerable smiled wickedly and lowered his head to speak to the woman in his arms. The deity called Yu Yan mustered her courage and said to Wan Qing, "Big brother Wan Qing, I like him. We have nothing to do with each other in the future. He will treat me very well. Don't worry." What? Wan Qing felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He couldn't help but tear up. If not for his master, Sovereign Imu, suddenly appearing beside him and pulling him back, he probably wouldn't have been able to control himself. However, in front of Green Lightning Saint Venerable, he was simply too lowly. "Qing, let's go." Sovereign Imu pulled him back. "No, Yu Yan, he's just toying with you." "It's not like you don't know how many people he has toyed with," Wan Qing roared. Yu Yan shook her head. "He treats me differently. Don't worry." They were childhood sweethearts who grew up together and cultivated together. Saint Green Lightning frowned slightly and said, "Imu, watch your disciple's mouth. If he lets me hear another word, I'll tear him apart. From today onwards, Yu Yan is mine. Don't bother her." He stretched out his arms and pulled Yu Yan into his embrace, looking down at Wan Qing from above. "Let's go." Sovereign Imu pulled Wan Qing into the divine kingdom and left without saying a word. Even he was inferior to Sacred Venerable Green Lightning, let alone Wan Qing. Sacred Venerable Green Lightning was someone that Wan Qing could not afford to offend. It was even possible that in the next tens of millions of years, the Builder Tree would belong to Sacred Venerable Green Lightning. He could tell that this guy was very shameless, but he was also very powerful. From the reverence the gods had for him, it could be seen that even the other holy venerables did not dare to criticize his words and actions. As for the celestial venerables, they were also somewhat helpless. My 5 good masters, how can I miss out on such a lively day? After Wan Qing and the others left, Sacred Venerable Green Lightning looked over with a smile. His gaze finally landed on Long Chen, and he looked at Long Chen with a mocking gaze. Oh. Long Chen roughly understood. The Builder Tree race and the Builder Tree race had been fighting for countless years, and their hatred ran deep. Each race wanted to completely annihilate the other race. Once one race had no successors, they would lose to the other. Hence, they placed great importance on nurturing the new generation of powerhouses. Sacred Venerable Green Lightning was able to become one of the top 10 holy venerables at such a young age. His talent was extraordinary, and he fully deserved to be the number 1 of the new generation of gods. Perhaps it was because they had nurtured this guy that the 5 celestial venerables were extremely excited. The 5 of them had accepted Sacred Venerable Green Lightning as their disciple and nurtured him by all means possible. That was how Sacred Venerable Green Lightning's current status was built. Apart from the 5 celestial venerables, no one dared to provoke him. The 5 celestial venerables were his masters, so they would naturally protect him. Once Sacred Venerable Green Lightning became a celestial venerable, he would definitely crush the Phoenix race. It could be seen how precious Sacred Venerable Green Lightning was now. If it weren't for this, he wouldn't have been able to develop such an arrogant and despotic personality. From the doting looks in the eyes of the 5 celestial venerables, it could be seen that as long as he didn't destroy the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace, they wouldn't blame him. This was indeed troublesome. Green Lightning, stop messing around. This is our guest, Northern Pole Heavenly Venerable Waterwood said very gently. This black-dressed woman didn't speak much, but she was very cold. She would only show her gentleness to Sacred Venerable Green Lightning. Guest, didn't he just defeat Emu? What kind of guest is he? If he wants to stay on our Builder Tree sacred tree and climb on our thighs, he has to show his value. What kind of guest is someone without value? If you guys aren't going to test his strength, I'm going to make a move. Sacred Venerable Green Lightning walked over to Long Chen. His eyes were like 2 vast lightning pools. Countless green lightning bolts were exploding within them. His gaze pierced Long Chen's body, making him feel a little uncomfortable. Green Lightning, stop messing around. Heavenly Venerable Desolate Wood, who was in the middle, glared at him. However, he didn't look serious. Long Chen understood that the 5 celestial venerables also wanted to test his capabilities. After all, he was a ticking time bomb to them. Sacred Venerable Green Lightning was one of the top celestial venerables. He also had the greatest hope of reaching the ultimate realm in the future. The 5 celestial venerables were very confident in him. Every bit of progress he made was a huge matter for the 5 celestial venerables. Now, what the 5 celestial venerables looked forward to the most was for their common disciple to become a celestial venerable. At that time, it would be the doomsday of the Phoenix clan. Sacred Venerable Green Lightning stretched out his hand and caressed the beauty's cheek. He nonchalantly stuck out his tongue and licked her face. He made an intoxicated expression and said, "You old fellows really like to be polite with others. The other party obviously wants to join us and find us a backer. In return, he will help us deal with the Phoenix clan. This is originally a transaction. Since you guys don't want to inspect the goods, let me do it. Your Excellency Yang Chen, what do you think?" At the end of his words, his pair of green lightning eyes stared at Long Chen with a burning gaze. Beside him, the beauty was trembling with excitement. Sacred Venerable Green Lightning's current expression made her anxious. This peerless genius's personality and strength were so strong that any woman wouldn't be able to resist the temptation even if they knew that they would get hurt. Sacred Venerable Green Lightning had never been defeated in his journey to becoming a god. In the eyes of everyone, he was always terrifying. Many people wanted to defeat him to become famous, but they all ended up in a miserable state. The thousands of gods around them were also in an uproar. Sacred Venerable Green Lightning was going to attack again. Looks like this Yang Chen is going to be unlucky. Yeah, being targeted by sacred venerable green lightning, even the 5 heavenly venerables can't do anything about it. Who asked sacred venerable green lightning to be such a genius? The 5 heavenly venerables are all his masters. Even the saint venerables pretended not to see anything at this time. They originally had plans to test Long Chen, but they didn't expect sacred venerable green lightning to be interested. Facing such an invitation, Long Chen suddenly smiled and said, "Actually, what you said makes sense. I'm also a very direct person, and I don't like to beat around the bush. Since I'm here at the Jinmu's sacred tree, of course I should have fun. You must be the pinnacle genius of the Jinmu's sacred tree. To be honest, I couldn't ask for more than you to test me. In fact, the gods wanted to see Long Chen be afraid and embarrassed. They didn't expect him to really agree, and in such a relaxed manner. He probably doesn't know how terrifying sacred venerable green lightning is. Yeah, among the 10 saint venerables, there aren't many who can suppress sacred venerable green lightning. Moreover, he has cultivated the orderly level boundless divine technique that only the heavenly venerables have. Even his natal tree is of the orderly level. Among the saint venerables, only green lightning saint has such treatment. This foreign god came from such a small world, how can he fight against sacred venerable green lightning? That's right, it's the orderly level, Tai green with thunderbolt technique. We humans have a total of 6 orderly level boundless divine techniques, which are owned by the 5 heavenly venerables and sacred venerable green lightning saint. Moreover, the power of the Tai green with thunderbolt technique is said to be ranked in the top 3 among all the orderly level boundless divine techniques. The Tai green with thunderbolt technique is fierce and domineering, with 2 sets of green wood and thunder rules. From the conversations of the people around, he vaguely understood this sacred venerable green lightning. To be honest, his combat power should be above Empress Myrtlestar's. He wasn't an ignorant and incompetent hedonist, but a ruthless and domineering cultivation genius who had gathered the most supreme resources of the Jinmu divine clan. If Wan Qing wanted to fight with him, he would indeed be seeking death. To Long Chen, this was also a super difficult opponent to deal with. When he heard Long Chen's words, sacred venerable green lightning's gaze hardened. He didn't expect Long Chen to agree. This was Long Chen's first counterattack against him. Interesting, then don't stay in this Jinmu divine palace anymore. Follow me out. A sinister smile appeared at the corner of his mouth as he comforted the jade face. Then, he glanced at Long Chen and said, "Leave if you have the guts." After saying that, he turned into green lightning and instantly rushed out of the Jinmu divine palace. "Yang Chen, I'm really sorry. Our disciple is too naughty," Heavenly Venerable Desolate said apologetically. In fact, it was just for show. Testing Long Chen was their original intention. "It's fine." Long Chen looked past the jade face and at the woman who was still intoxicated by the charm of sacred venerable green lightning. Then, he also left the Jinmu divine palace. Behind him was the mighty Jinmu divine clan. Of course, they wouldn't miss this battle. "Wait for me." Yu Yan hurriedly chased after him. Her identity was different now. Along the way, the gods had to make way for her so that she wouldn't have to agree to sacred venerable green lightning. "What are you so proud of? It won't be long before you're abandoned. When that time comes, you won't even have your life." A few female deities whispered to each other. Their eyes were extremely red. Moreover, there would be a day when he would become the ruler of the Builder Tree race, or even the ruler of the Builder Tree Holy Tree. Yu Yan also believed that her beauty could keep him here. But at this moment, everything turned silent. Saint Venerable Green Lightning recovered from his shock. His gaze turned solemn as he said, "I've underestimated you. Underestimating is a great taboo. I won't make such a low-level mistake. Next, I'll bet my life on this. Whatever you want, I'll accompany you to the end." Long Chen smiled faintly. His calmness made Saint Venerable Green Lightning feel like he was facing a great enemy. Long Chen understood in his heart that he was different from other silk pants. He might appear arrogant on the surface, but he was actually ruthless and cautious in his heart. If not, the 5 Empyreans weren't fools. They definitely wouldn't have nurtured him like this. By doing so, they most likely wanted the Phoenix race to look down on Saint Venerable Green Lightning. Only he understood that the boundless Greenwood lightning net earlier wasn't easy to deal with. You've just arrived, so you naturally don't know about our life tree. Saint Venerable Green Lightning grinned. He suddenly stretched out his hand, and a boundless life force vibrated on his palm. Under the green lightning, his face flickered with a green light. Our life tree is our strongest combat strength, and also the greatest respect we give to our enemies. He didn't forget to remind Long Chen that he was still considered a gentleman. Life tree, that's the Thunder Holy Tree, equivalent to an orderly grade fortune divine artifact. Today, their horizons had truly been broadened. Many legendary items had appeared. On the other hand, the 5 Empyreans' expressions turned solemn as they discussed in secret. They were roughly estimating Long Chen's value. Up until now, Long Chen was still a mystery. Of course, they were very confident in the disciples they had nurtured. In order to numb the Phoenix race, Saint Venerable Green Lightning had always had a disgusting image. But the 5 Empyreans knew that with his ruthlessness and decisiveness, he could definitely become a cold-blooded ruler and open up a new world for the supreme tree human race. At this time, a small tree wrapped in lightning had already appeared in Saint Venerable Green Lightning's hand. It was indeed a tree, and it also contained boundless power. It was the life force of trees, the tearing power of lightning. The power of a single tree was equivalent to Saint Venerable Green Lightning. Fuse. Saint Venerable Green Lightning sneered. Right in front of Long Chen, he fused that life tree, the Thunder Holy Tree, into his chest. Looking at its position, it simply overlapped and fused with the World Tree. Miraculous. Long Chen was truly dumbfounded. He had somewhat underestimated this Saint Venerable Green Lightning. His strength wasn't just a bit stronger than Empress Myrtle Star and the others. That Thunder Holy Tree, equivalent to an orderly grade fortune divine artifact, had completely fused with his World Tree. This wasn't just the fusion of 2 trees, it was the complete fusion of 2 different kinds of energies. Saint Venerable Green Lightning's bloodline and strength were both guaranteed. His body was undergoing intense changes. With a loud explosion, what appeared in front of Long Chen wasn't just a person, but a massive tree completely formed from azure lightning. Every leaf was formed from tens of thousands of lightning snakes. Every branch and root was made of thick blue lightning bolts. The massive tree trunk was simply like an azure lightning divine dragon, vigorous and powerful. Dragon. Saint Venerable Green Lightning didn't just turn into a tree, causing Long Chen to be shocked. That tree trunk was actually like a dragon, causing Long Chen to be even more shocked. Big brother, this fella might have been arranged to be together with the origin dragon's soul of the spirit dragon since he was young, and he might have been influenced by it. That's why he ended up in his current state after fusing with the life tree. Yang Lingqing reminded. So that's the case. Seems like he's the one who had the most contact with the so-called Builder Tree Saint Soul. At this moment, the thunderous Saint Venerable Green Lightning had already charged over once more. This time around, he had countless branches and leaves. Every single branch and leaf was like a blade or an arm. He had tens of thousands of arms. In front of this tree, Long Chen was simply as tiny as an ant. Greenwood Thunder World. The killing move descended. The various deities exclaimed once more. This was the strongest form of Saint Venerable Green Lightning. Even if the 5 heavenly lords were to face him in this state, they would definitely frown. There was no need to even mention Long Chen. Countless leaves, roots, and branches intertwined together at this moment, shrouding Long Chen within a completely sealed world. Every single one of them was made up of endless thunderbolts. The moment the world was sealed up, Long Chen seemed to have entered the territory controlled by Saint Venerable Green Lightning entirely. This was just like a brand new world that had separated Long Chen from his original world. His surroundings were filled with dense walls of thunderbolts. There was no way he could escape. That green thunderbolt was twisting like a snake. Gradually, many array diagrams appeared on it before it started shrinking. It was as though it wanted to squeeze Long Chen into dust. In truth, this was somewhat similar to the endless green wood thunder web from before. But in truth, after turning into a thunder saint tree and forming a brand new world, its power had risen by far too much. Back then, it was just a test. But now, it was a crisis of absolute annihilation. If Long Chen couldn't defend against it, there was even a possibility of him being annihilated. So vicious. Long Chen could not help but widen his horizons. The infinite worlds were a battlefield as well. Against this shrinking world, he wielded the Ling Su dual swords in his hands. Facing the danger, it was time for him to go all out. It had been 5 years since he had a decent battle. This time around, he could finally have a good time. But Green Lightning Saint Venerable, who had been struck by heaven's punishment twice in a row, wasn't so lucky. Long Chen's sword had fused the power of the heavenly retribution into the soul-shattering sword Qi. It only targeted the primordial spirit. Ah! After forcing back Long Chen, Green Lightning Saint Venerable screamed again. In the starry sky, the Greenwood lightning world had completely shattered. The leaves formed by Green Lightning Saint Venerable's lightning continued to dance, tearing apart the layers of space. The dual attacks of the physical body and primordial spirit had caused Green Lightning Saint Venerable serious injuries. Long Chen's rule had indeed suppressed the other party. How is this possible? Looking at the relaxed Long Chen and the defeated Green Lightning Saint Venerable, all the gods widened their eyes in disbelief. Green Lightning Saint Venerable had never been defeated before. Even against other Saint Venerables, he would at most be on par. But today, he was actually being suppressed by this foreign god? Even the 5 heavenly Venerables were silent at this moment. One had to know that Green Lightning Saint Venerable was the blood and sweat of the 5 of them. Although they had a slight premonition, they still found it hard to believe that their blood and sweat would be defeated just like that. The one who couldn't bear it the most was Yu Yan. He actually lost, in her heart. Although Green Lightning Saint Venerable had a bad reputation, he had always been flawless in terms of strength. This was what Yu Yan worshipped about him. Every time she thought of it, she would feel incomparably excited. But now, he was actually crying out in surprise. She couldn't believe her eyes. This was actually real. You admit it. Long Chen cupped his hands together and smiled. No, it's not over yet. What surprised Long Chen was that this fellow's vitality was truly strong. It seemed like his wood attribute was somewhat similar to the power of life. Green Lightning Saint Venerable felt the threat of death. Everything that happened just now was too strange. He couldn't come back to his senses for a moment. Even the gods below were the same. They were confused and extremely shocked. Not many people could guess this result. However, everyone understood that this time, Long Chen had truly defeated their genius, Green Lightning Saint Venerable. Green Lightning Saint Venerable withdrew his natal tree and returned to his human form. After experiencing this battle, his face was a little pale. According to Long Chen's estimation, this guy would definitely hate himself after being defeated and wouldn't be able to take it. However, Green Lightning Saint Venerable's mental endurance was much stronger than he imagined. He suddenly laughed and said, "Brother Yang Chen is really amazing. I, Green Lightning, am completely convinced. That's right, I'm not your match. You're slightly stronger than me. Impressive, I'm impressed." Being able to accept it so easily meant that he was definitely not as ruthless and tyrannical as he appeared on the surface. His true nature was dark and cunning. Those frivolous acts were obviously just an act. It was over. Many of the Jinmu gods couldn't accept the result of this battle. They looked at the return of Long Chen and Green Lightning Saint Venerable in shock. Although the two parties involved had already started to laugh and chat, they still felt like they were dreaming. Especially Yu Yan, she was waiting for Green Lightning Saint Venerable to easily defeat his opponent and then bring her along. The 5 heavenly venerables looked at each other. They seemed to have an idea in their hearts. Brother Yang Chen is indeed the strongest person in the world. He's indeed extraordinary. Green Lightning, you can't be spoiled anymore. You must learn well. Chapter 2792. Yu Yan's heart was heavy. Just as Sacred Venerable Green Lightning was about to bring Long Chen into the Builder-Wood Divine Celestial Palace, she quietly walked over to Sacred Venerable Green Lightning's side. She looked at Long Chen with some animosity and said to Sacred Venerable Green Lightning, "Big Brother Green Lightning, Green Lightning Saint Venerable glanced at her and said, "Go to the side. Can't you see that I'm busy?" Yu Yan's heart immediately felt uncomfortable. Just a moment ago, he was still hugging her and saying all sorts of good things. Why did he suddenly change his attitude? Could it be because Long Chen defeated him, causing his heart to suffer a setback? Although he appeared to be happy, his heart was still tormented. "In my heart, you will always be the strongest," Yu Yan anxiously said. "Didn't I tell you to go to the side?" Green Lightning Saint Venerable was suddenly angered. His green eyes flickered with lightning. But since they were in public, his anger only lasted for a moment. He immediately suppressed it and said, "You go back first. I still have something important to do. I'll come find you at night." "Okay. Okay." Yu Yan was frightened at first, but the words of Green Lightning Saint Venerable calmed her down a lot. She quickly ran away happily. Not long after, she saw Wan Qing standing in front of her. Her mood immediately turned bad. After all, she was already very uncomfortable with Green Lightning Saint Venerable's defeat. She directly wanted to walk past Wan Qing and leave. "Yu Yan, repent before it's too late. Don't destroy everything you have," Wan Qing said with a hoarse voice. "I said, it's impossible between you and me. Don't be an alarmist. He's not as bad as you think." "What's impossible? How long have we been together since we were young?" Wan Qing couldn't imagine that she would become like this. "So what?" Yu Yan glanced at him and quickly entered the Builder-Wood Heavenly Palace, leaving Wan Qing alone in the wind. Tears couldn't help but flow down. He squatted on the ground and trembled. His mind was filled with Yu Yan's last words. The more he thought about it, the more painful it was. "We experienced so many things together, but in the end, we only got one sentence. So what, if only I had Yang Chen's power and could defeat Green Lightning the Saint?" Sovereign Yimu was not far away from him. He pulled Wan Qing up, and when he saw that his disciple had completely lost his will to fight, he shook his head and said, "Calm down for a while, and you'll understand. This has nothing to do with fate. The main thing is that you're persevering for someone who isn't suitable for you. The future is still long. Who can be sure what will happen in the future?" Wan Qing nodded blankly. Actually, he didn't listen. At this moment, Heavenly Venerable Huangmu announced, regarding today's battle and Yang Chen's existence, no one is allowed to spread the news. If the Phoenix clan finds out, or if I find out who leaked the news, I'm sure everyone knows what the punishment will be. The gods immediately trembled in fear and shut their mouths. "Brother Yang Chen, this way please." Holy Venerate Green Lightning seemed to have completely forgotten about the previous battle. He became very enthusiastic, but there was a devilish smile on his face at all times, causing others to feel fear in their hearts. Of course, Long Chen already knew what kind of person he was. Naturally, he wouldn't be afraid of someone who lost to him, but he still had some scruples. This was the Jinmu's sacred tree, their territory. Next, the people who accompanied Long Chen were all heavenly venerates and saint venerates. They brought Long Chen into a glorious palace and invited Long Chen to sit down. "Since Your Excellency Yang Chen is willing to help us, then we won't be unreasonable. After all, we do need Your Excellency's help. In return, Your Excellency can move freely in the area controlled by the Jinmu's sacred tree race, and you can also gain the deepest friendship of our Jinmu's sacred heavenly palace. Even if you plan to live in the Jinmu's sacred tree for a long time, it won't be a problem. In addition, if you have any needs, you can ask us. As soon as they sat down, Heavenly Venerable Huangmu went straight to the point and directly talked to Long Chen. Long Chen knew what they meant. He smiled faintly and said, "Actually, there's no need to be so formal. I came here mainly to make friends. Since we're all friends, it's only right for us to help each other." Clap clap. Beside him, Green Lightning Saint applauded and said with a smile, "Brother, what you said is much better than what this old guy said. Don't worry about them, they're just so formal. It's too boring. Since you're staying with us, you're my brother. We can talk about anything in the future. If you lack anything, just tell me. As long as it's on the Jinmu's sacred tree, there's absolutely nothing that can't be done." Of course, this was just a saying. If Long Chen wanted their Jinmu's sacred soul, they certainly wouldn't give it to him. Everyone chatted and laughed. After confirming their relationship as friends, the atmosphere seemed very harmonious. After chatting for a while, Long Chen said, "I wonder what you guys need me to do for the help you mentioned before?" Everyone looked at each other and finally looked at Heavenly Venerable Huangmu in the middle. When it came to business, he had to speak. At this time, he coughed twice and said, "It's like this, on the Jinmu's sacred tree, the phoenix race and the human race have been mortal enemies for tens of millions of years. You should know this, right?" Long Chen nodded and said, "I heard it from the god who led the way." Heavenly Venerable Huangmu was very satisfied and continued, "Our Jinmu's sacred tree has a peerless treasure called the Jinmu's sacred soul. This is the sacred tree, sacred soul. By possessing the Jinmu's sacred soul, one can ensure the prosperity of the race, countless geniuses, and boundless providence. It's precisely because we have the Jinmu's sacred soul that our human race has produced many geniuses over the past millions of years and has subtly suppressed the phoenix race. Therefore, the Jinmu's sacred soul is very important. So that's how it is." In fact, they didn't really know how to use the origin dragon soul. Of course, they weren't the human race, so it was normal for them not to know that it was the origin dragon soul. Actually, for a period of time, our two races have been fighting for the Jinmu's sacred soul. It has been going on for countless years, and our two races have suffered countless deaths and injuries because of the Jinmu's sacred soul, and we've even become weaker and weaker. This result isn't good for anyone, so our two races have agreed that every 100,000 years, there will be a Jinmu's sacred war, to determine the ownership of the Jinmu's sacred soul. The side that wins the Jinmu's sacred war will have the Jinmu's sacred soul for 100,000 years, and the other side is not allowed to snatch the Jinmu's sacred soul for 100,000 years and break the rules. This was a good idea. As long as both sides strictly followed the rules, they could avoid many unnecessary deaths and injuries. Heavenly Venerable Huangmu smiled faintly and said, "This rule has been going on for a long time. Both sides have strictly followed it for millions of years, so you can see the peaceful state of the Jinmu's sacred tree now. What makes our human race proud is that for nearly 2 million years, the Jinmu's sacred soul has actually been on our side, and we have won the Jinmu's sacred war more than 20 times. This is unprecedented glory and glory. It's also because we have possessed the Jinmu's sacred soul for more than 2 million years that we have a genius like Qing Dian, and there will be more in the future. So no matter how many Jinmu's sacred wars there are, we absolutely cannot abandon the Jinmu's sacred soul. We absolutely cannot let the phoenix race hold it." Long Chen roughly knew what to do. He asked, "The next Jinmu's sacred war is about to begin, right?" Heavenly Venerable Huangmu nodded and said, "Recently, the atmosphere of the entire Jinmu's sacred tree has been very tense. Actually, it's the calm before the storm. Because the Jinmu's sacred war will begin in less than half a year. Without you, we have about a 60% chance of winning. If you are included, we have more than a 90% chance of winning." Saying 90% is actually being polite. After all, we have to give our opponents some face, right? Everyone roared with laughter. Long Chen also laughed and said, "Heavenly Venerable, you think so highly of me? Then I'm very curious, what kind of form will this Jinmu's sacred war take? Heavenly Venerable Green Lightning interrupted and said, it's very simple. Our two races will each send 10 people, 10 for them and 10 for us. Our side's 5 Heavenly Venerables and their 5 Saint Emperors will definitely fight. Then, our side will pick the strongest 5 Heavenly Venerables from the 10 Saint Emperors, and they will also pick the strongest 5 from the Phoenix race below the 5 Saint Emperors. Each side will have 10 people, and it will be a battle of attrition. Each side will send one person, and if they are defeated, they will die, or if they admit defeat. This will continue until one side's 10 people are defeated, and the other side will win. In the center, Heavenly Venerable Desolate smiled and said, this is actually a long time ago. This rule tests the situation of our 5 Heavenly Venerables and 5 Saint Emperors. We have fought with them countless times, and in fact, we have one more. Apart from the Heavenly Venerables and Saint Emperors, the other martial artists are not very useful, but there are a few battles that can turn the situation around. Speaking of which, what I mean is, they don't understand you. When the time comes, I will arrange for you. If you can defeat at least 2 opponents by yourself, of course not one of the 5 Saint Emperors, you will be of great help to us. After all, even if we want to deal with a Perfection Realm God King, it will take a lot of effort. The Jinmu's sacred war is very important, and it is basically a fight to the death. Heavenly Venerable Green Lightning sneered and said, to be honest, they have lost more than 20 times in the Jinmu's sacred war. If this continues, their race will be exterminated. So, this time, their counterattack will be very serious. So, with your participation, we can give them a big surprise. Long Chen understood. It seemed that his role was very important. Then, at least before the Jinmu's sacred war, he would be very safe, and he could use various reasons to get close to the Jinmu's sacred soul. Of course, he didn't care about the sacred war. His only goal was to take away the origin dragon soul. Of course, the other side would definitely have ulterior motives. After all, no matter what, he was also a threat to them. After the discussion, Heavenly Venerable Green Lightning arranged a place for Long Chen to stay. From now on, we are brothers. If we can't live together, we will die together. I have finally found a peer who can surpass me. I welcome you to stay in my Jinmu's sacred tree. We brothers will trample the Phoenix race together. What do you think? Chapter 2793. I'm really fucking amazing. That pair of eyes just glanced at me, and my eternal inextinguishable electric soul collapsed. I was the one who caused it to collapse. Also, that sword strike just now only broke a few branches of the lightning holy tree, but a wave of nomological power rushed in. I don't know what kind of nomological power it is, but it directly detonated my Tai Green Wood lightning power source. Even I couldn't control it. Green Lightning Holy Venerate sat down with a gloomy face. The 5 Heavenly Venerates beside him were more amiable when facing Long Chen. However, their expressions were very solemn at this moment. Disciple, can you tell what kind of nomological power he is using? Northern Pole Heavenly Venerate asked gently. Who knows? It's not just one. It might be 3 or 4. Every one of them is very mystical, especially when his claws pierced my body at the end. I felt like I was going to die at that moment. That must be a nomological power. The golden-haired middle-aged man, Eastern Pole Heavenly Venerate Goldenwood, said in surprise, since he's so powerful and he's so young, if he stays in our Builder Tree's sacred tree, he will one day become a huge threat to us. Although we are all from the human race, he isn't one of us. It's better to get rid of him as soon as possible. It's too dangerous to make use of such a person. Besides the 5 of us, I'm afraid no one else in the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace can restrain him. They really hadn't expected Long Chen to be so tyrannical. There's no need to be anxious. We still need his help in the Builder Tree Sacred War. How about this? Let's see how the Builder Tree Sacred War turns out. After we win, we'll get rid of him. He's useless to us anyway. In the end, Heavenly Venerate Desolate would made his decision. He was the oldest and had more than 10 million years of history than the other Heavenly Venerates. The other Heavenly Venerates also respected him. Green Lightning. Finally, Heavenly Venerate Desolate would looked at Green Lightning Holy Venerate. What? This was his first defeat, and even though his mind was calm, he still didn't feel too good about it. If he had been defeated by an Empyrean, that would have been fine, but he had been defeated by Long Chen. Then I'll leave Yang Chen to you. Before the Jinmu Holy battle, keep an eye on him. Report to us if he makes any moves. Our only goal is to make use of his strength and let him help us win in the Jinmu Holy battle. Also, I still suspect that he has his reasons for coming to our Jinmu Holy tree, so you better figure out what his real intentions are. You want me to lower myself and approach him? Is there a problem? No, I've already done so. But you have to promise me one thing. When it's time to get rid of him, I'll be the one to do it. Of course. Long Chen received the hospitality of the Jinmu Holy clan. He could move around in the Jinmu Holy Palace and all the territories of the Jinmu Holy clan. Wan Qing was sent to be a guide to introduce everything to Long Chen. But these days, Long Chen rarely left the Jinmu Holy Palace, and even rarely left his residence. If he went out and met other gods, they would respectfully call him Saint Venerable Yang. This was their way of addressing him. It represented that Long Chen's status was the same as the 10 great Saint Venerates. Because he had defeated Green Lightning's Saint Venerable, thousands of Jinmu Holy clan actually respected him. Except for Wan Qing. Over the past few days, he had spent most of his time at Long Chen's place, waiting on Long Chen. Most of the time, he had been standing there in a daze, not saying a word. His eyes had dimmed, and he was immersed in his own pain. How about it? Do you want to kill him? Long Chen stood beside him and said softly as he looked ahead. No, no. Wan Qing was startled and said, Saint Venerable Yang, don't talk nonsense. You'll kill me. Don't worry. They can't hear what you say here. This is my territory, Long Chen said with a smile. Is that so? Wan Qing looked at Long Chen blankly. Long Chen patted his shoulder and said, work hard. There will always be a chance. However, some people are not suitable. You still have to let go of those who should be sacrificed, lest you end up consigned to eternal damnation. In the past few days, he had witnessed Wan Qing's heartbreak. Although he had never experienced the feeling of being betrayed, it should be very tragic. However, reality was cruel. It was impossible for him to have the strength to surpass Green Lightning's Saint Venerable, and his jade face was no longer the jade face in his heart. Thank you. Wan Qing bowed respectfully to him. Saint Venerable Yang, you are definitely a good person. I apologize for my previous actions. When I heard that you came from another world, I planned to lure you to the Builder Tree Divine Palace and let my master deal with you. I didn't expect you to be so powerful. He only thanked him and did not walk away from this matter. His heart was still very miserable. Long Chen couldn't help him with this matter, and Wan Qing didn't seem to want to give up either. There was nothing he could do. Jade face. My entire long life is filled with her shadow. We planned so many things. It was so beautiful, but she suddenly left me. Why? Is it because Green Lightning's Saint Venerable is stronger than me? But he's not a good person. As soon as Long Chen left, he clutched his head in pain, his eyes filled with tears. How pitiful. Yang Lingqing and Soi Yan were moved to tears. What an infatuated person. Boss, when we leave, we'll just take him away. If he stays in the Builder Tree Divine Palace, he will be killed by that Green Lightning Saint Venerable sooner or later. Kitten said sneakily. However, what he said was exactly what Long Chen was thinking. After all, it was fate that brought them together. Do you dare to imagine that one day you will kill him? Suddenly, a sentence appeared in his heart. Who? Wan Qing held back his tears and looked around nervously. But there was no one around him. It's Saint Venerable Yang's voice. What does he mean? Wan Qing was bewildered as he stared in the direction where Long Chen disappeared. Long Chen didn't even turn back to look at him. At this moment, they had already left the Builder Tree God's celestial palace and were heading towards the territory of the Phoenix race. That fellow is truly a shameless fellow. Not only did he snatch someone else's woman, he even wanted to humiliate others. Such a person will never have a good ending. Yang Lingqing looked at Green Lightning Saint Venerable silently as she spoke in disgust. Just nice, I'm so close to entering the great circle of the God Monarch realm. Long Chen followed behind Green Lightning Saint Venerable. Their speed was extremely terrifying. Although the distance from the trunk to the crown of the Builder Tree was boundless, to God King experts, it was merely a matter of half a day. We're here. Ahead of them was a stretch of darkness. It seemed like countless continents were floating in the starry sky. Those were leaves. As he descended above the leaf, he could see that although it was a leaf, it wasn't much different from a real land. It was covered in dust. There were also mountains, rivers, forests, and plains. The trees were especially lush. They were all very tall, reaching into the clouds. The Phoenix race calls every leaf of the Builder Tree Sacred Leaf Continent. Then, they add a name in front of it to form the name of each Sacred Leaf Continent. For example, Thousand Snow Sacred Leaf Continent, Heart's Dream Sacred Leaf Continent. There are too many Sacred Leaf Continents on the Builder Tree. Moreover, Sacred Leaf Continents are often destroyed and new Sacred Leaf Continents are born. Every Sacred Leaf Continent has a Sacred Leaf Nest. It's where the experts of that Sacred Leaf Continent gather. He was going to watch him kill. Long Chen wouldn't kill innocent people. However, this was what Sacred Venerable Green Lightning was doing. Therefore, he was in a difficult position. Should he stop him? However, if he did, Sacred Venerable Green Lightning would definitely think that he was related to the Phoenix race. Long Chen knew very well that Sacred Venerable Green Lightning had brought him here with the permission of the 5 Heavenly Venerables. It was probably to test whether Long Chen was related to the Phoenix race. If Lin Fan stopped him, it would be very difficult to explain. While he was still pondering, Sacred Venerable Green Lightning descended in front of the Sacred Leaf Nest on the Sacred Leaf Continent. It was a colorful nest that was exquisitely built. It looked dreamy and illusory. It was like a crystalline gem that was very warm. It wasn't big, and there were about 1,000 phoenixes in it. There were no deities inside. They were basically at the Samsara Tribulation Eminence. This was the place where the strongest experts of this Sacred Leaf Continent gathered. Beasts of the Phoenix race. At this moment, Sacred Venerable Green Lightning chuckled. His expression was ferocious and crazy. His voice instantly caused panic. Many demon beasts in the Sacred Leaf Nest were preparing to escape. Sacred Venerable Green Lightning glanced at Long Chen and said, "Brother, make your move. Kill to your heart's content." After saying that, he waved his hand. A green lightning bolt with a diameter of several hundred meters descended from the sky. With a loud rumble, it struck the Sacred Leaf Nest. Pa! 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 The Sacred Leaf Nest wasn't destroyed. Instead, over 1,000 bird demon beasts were entangled by the green lightning. For a moment, countless screams of despair came from below. It's Sacred Venerable Green Lightning. They recognized Sacred Venerable Green Lightning in despair. But it was already too late. Over 1,000 demon beasts screamed in despair and pain. In front of Long Chen, Sacred Venerable Green Lightning killed them and turned them into ashes. Long Chen watched these innocent people die with his own eyes. However, he still endured it. Life was indeed like this. There would be births and deaths at any moment. It was the same in the myriad worlds. Billions of people died at every moment. He couldn't stop it. This wasn't the world controlled by the 10 great ancestral dragons in the past. All lives were reincarnated. But now, the number of lives was decreasing. A large portion of the souls of these people who died would be absorbed by the gods and devils. This feels great. Let's do it again. Yang Chen, you too. Saint Venerable Green Lightning laughed heartily. This time, he was going all out. He spread his arms wide with a malevolent expression on his face. In an instant, the entire sky of the sacred leaf continent was covered with a green electric net. In an instant, the hundreds of millions of beasts in the sky screamed miserably. They knew that if this green electric net descended, the entire sacred leaf continent would be destroyed. With a wave of his hand, he could destroy a continent. This was the might of a god. Come on, come on. Thunder exploded, producing endless roars. The entire sacred leaf continent was shaking. Over 100 million people were wailing in pain. Their terrified faces appeared in front of Long Chen's eyes. Everyone was screaming at the top of their lungs. Each of them had their own family and friends. Each of them was facing the fear of death. Long Chen thought of a sentence from Sacred Venerable Green Lightning. His life was comparable to half of the building wood human race. This wasn't arrogance. It was the truth. This was the rule of the world controlled by the sky-swallowing clan. The strong were everything. This damn thing. Yang Lingqing couldn't stand it anymore. Chen. Lingxi called out softly. Although Long Chen had nothing to do with the Phoenix clan, this was happening in front of her. Even if he was testing her, she couldn't tolerate it. Long Chen naturally knew what to do. There's no rush. Long Chen interrupted Sacred Venerable Green Lightning and said, "Don't touch these ordinary lives. There's no point in killing them. Let's go deeper and see if we can find any big fish. That's hunting. You're destroying them. This is very boring. What do you think?" The big fish that Long Chen was talking about was naturally a god. If the destruction of a god could be exchanged for the survival of 100 million people, he would be more willing to accept it. You're right. This isn't a hunt. Huh, brother, you have better taste. I'm just a commoner. No wonder I can't beat you. Sacred Venerable Green Lightning removed the electric net and looked at Long Chen deeply. He smiled and said, "Then let's go and hunt the real big fish. If I don't catch a big fish today, I won't go back." It was obvious that Sacred Venerable Green Lightning was trying to provoke him and test him. On one hand, he had to obtain the Origin Dragon Soul. On the other hand, he had to protect the lives of innocent people. He had indeed given Long Chen a difficult choice. If he really forced Long Chen into a dead end, he didn't mind starting a war. First, he would devour Sacred Venerable Green Lightning. Then, he might be able to fight against the 5 heavenly venerables. Although it was a bit difficult, it wasn't impossible to start a massacre. Of course, he had no other choice. This sacred leaf continent could be considered a daunting experience. However, his panic still hadn't dissipated. "This guy is crazy," Yang Lingqing said angrily. "Don't worry, I'll take care of him," Long Chen said. Next, the two of them wandered around the sacred leaf continents. Big fish, come out quickly. This place is close to the Phoenix Nest, the place where the 5 Saint Emperors are. Hee hee. After searching about 20 sacred leaf continents and finding no gods, Sacred Venerable Green Lightning was about to lose his patience. "When I find the big fish, I'll play with him and then kill him. Otherwise, we'll have wasted so much time looking for the big fish today." Sacred Venerable Green Lightning cackled. They passed through a sea of trees and finally saw a new continent. This sacred leaf continent is really big. When they got closer, Sacred Venerable Green Lightning's eyes lit up. He said in surprise, "I seem to have seen the big fish. Big fish, don't run away." In an instant, he crossed thousands of miles and appeared above the sacred leaf nest of this sacred leaf continent. With a slight control, he was able to restrict this place. "Do you know what I'm going to do? Let me tell you a secret. I've never tasted the taste of a phoenix race's divine spirit. Aren't you honored?" Hearing this, the originally sad and hateful fire phoenix turned pale. She struggled madly, but she couldn't break free from the control of Green Lightning Saint. She could only cry and curse angrily, "Green Lightning Saint, you're a beast. You won't live for long. Our phoenix race will definitely destroy you. You've committed so many crimes, even the heavens won't forgive you. You'll die a horrible death. Huh, I feel so good cursing you. Yes, yes, you look more powerful now. You're our big fish." Green Lightning Saint cursed and prepared to violate her. The Green Lightning Saint cursed as he prepared to violate the other party. But at this time, he stopped and looked at Long Chen with an embarrassed smile. "I'm really sorry, brother. You should enjoy the good things first. Today, I'll give this big fish to you. After all, you're a guest. You've been here for so many days and I haven't entertained you yet. You shouldn't reject my good intentions, right? I believe that you will give me face." As he spoke, he threw the furiously cursing fire phoenix to Long Chen and smiled. "Enjoy it slowly, I won't be a hindrance to you anymore. I'll wait for you outside. Don't worry, I have plenty of time." As he said that, he turned into a bolt of lightning and disappeared. Long Chen caught the woman from the phoenix race. "Bastard, who are you?" The woman from the phoenix race cursed. In her eyes, Long Chen was naturally in cahoots with Green Lightning Saint Venerable. But just as she cursed, Long Chen released her and said, "Let's go." "What do you mean?" The woman from the phoenix race was stunned. Before she could finish speaking, Long Chen had already left. He arrived outside the Sacred Leaf mainland and stopped in front of Green Lightning Saint Venerable. Green Lightning Saint Venerable looked at him coldly and said, "Brother, you really don't give me any face." Long Chen said indifferently, "You're in too much of a hurry to leave. I'm different from you in this aspect. I'm already married. Brothers are like hands and feet, women are like clothes. Why are you married? Don't bother about her. Just change your clothes after you're done wearing them." Green Lightning Saint Venerable smiled evilly. "No way. All right then, this big fish belongs to me." Green Lightning Saint Venerable was about to leave. But Long Chen stopped him. Green Lightning Saint Venerable squinted his eyes. Of course, everything he did today was intentional. At this moment, Long Chen was still stopping him. He couldn't help but sneer coldly, "Yang Chen, I treat you as a brother. Are you a spy from the Phoenix race?" Long Chen wasn't afraid of him. If they really fought, he could only kill him and start a war. If he didn't want to fight, he would hide it as much as he could. After all, the Origin Dragon's soul was still very important. So he said, "Even so, our styles are different. As a strong cultivator, it's my principle to never bully the weak. So you shouldn't have brought me out for today's so-called hunt. Of course, other than this, I don't have any conflicts with you. I'm willing to travel this world and help you win the Jinmu's sacred war. But I'm sorry, if you kill innocent people and humiliate others in front of me, I can't sit back and watch. This has nothing to do with the Phoenix race. No matter who you do it to, I won't sit back and watch." "Oh." Green Lightning Saint Venerable laughed after hearing this. He said, "It seems like you have a lot of rules. Not bad, you have a character. Today's hunt was a failure. At most, I won't bring you out next time. However, this doesn't affect us becoming brothers. I'm afraid we can't destroy the Phoenix race together. I won't stay here for too long. I won't care about things that I can't see." Long Chen said. Previously, he was a little hesitant. After all, the other party was testing him. Now that he thought it through, it didn't matter. He was worried about the 5 Heavenly Venerables, and the 5 Heavenly Venerables were also worried that he would mess things up. At this moment, in the Holy Leaf Land, the Fire Phoenix had recovered a lot. She immediately fled towards the direction of the Phoenix nest. Green Lightning Saint Venerable looked at the sound of her escape and laughed. "Chick, tell Zhu Shi to wash up and wait for me. It won't be long before she becomes my woman." The fire phoenix directly fled. Who's Zhu Shi? This was Long Chen's first time hearing this name. She's from the phoenix race. She can be considered my opponent. Her age is similar to mine, and she was nurtured by the phoenix race to deal with me. If she becomes my woman, do you think those old fellows from the phoenix race will be angered to death? Haha. Green Lightning Saint Venerable seemed to have forgotten the conflict between the two of them and started laughing. Let's go back. Long Chen couldn't be bothered with this lunatic. Not long after they returned, a beam of light suddenly appeared in the distance and soared into the sky. That direction seemed to be a branch of the Builder Tree. Many countries of the Phoenix race had been established on it. That beam of light was very bright. Although it was still very far away, dense spiritual auras rushed towards Long Chen's eyes. It was very possible that a treasure had been born. The Builder Tree was rich in spiritual qi. The possibility of a treasure being born here was much higher than in the Dragon Sacrificial Continent. It's actually the Builder Tree Divine Accumulation Crystal. My luck is so good. Green Lightning Saint Venerable was stunned. What's that? Long Chen squinted his eyes as he looked at that beam of light. It was a treasure, but its light could be transmitted so far, across dozens of sacred leaf continents. It was truly rare. Green Lightning Saint Venerable said, it's an orbital-grade, primal chaos treasure. It's the spiritual qi that the Builder Tree has condensed for tens of thousands of years and condensed into a single point. It can be considered the fruit of the Builder Tree. The Builder Tree Divine Accumulation Crystal has great effects. It can help raise the grade of Fortune God equipment and its Fortune God power. It can also restore damaged Fortune God equipment. It can also be used to nurture our life tree. It's something that both our races want to snatch. It's our luck that it was born near us this time. Let's go. Before he finished speaking, Green Lightning Saint Venerable turned into a bolt of lightning and sped away. He wasn't particularly anxious because the Builder Tree Divine Accumulation Crystal had yet to completely grow out of the Builder Tree. It can restore damaged Fortune God equipment. It can make the Lingsu twin swords. Long Chen and Lingxi immediately thought of the Lingsu twin swords. Therefore, this Builder Tree Divine Accumulation Crystal was also very important to them. It might even be more important. Therefore, Long Chen instantly decided that no matter what method he had to use, he had to obtain this Builder Tree Divine Accumulation Crystal. Even if he had to offend Green Lightning Saint Venerable, it didn't seem to matter. After all, it depended on their own abilities. However, this place seemed to be the territory of the Phoenix race. With such an obvious Builder Tree Divine Accumulation Crystal appearing, how could the Phoenix race not know about it? Little Shi, you still have a heavenly rule spirit technique called shifting stars, right? Long Chen asked Lingxi. This stellar transposition was the origin of the stellar transposition technique that Lingxi had used in the past. In fact, it was the origin of the cosmos shifting formation. Right now, the distance between continents was no longer effective. The true stellar transposition was a type of law. That's right. I can use this shifting stars to cross the entire Dragon Sacrificial Continent in one go. I can return to the Builder Tree Divine Palace from here in an instant. I can also leave your God Nation and return to your God Nation directly. It's just that the further the distance, the longer the preparation time is. For example, to reach the Builder Tree Divine Palace, it would probably take about 15 minutes to prepare. Heavenly Rule Spirit techniques were so magical. If it wasn't for the longer preparation time, Long Chen would have wanted to snatch the Origin Dragon's soul and let Lingxi teleport him to the starry skies. Although Long Chen carried billions of lives, he could enter Lingxi's God Nation and wouldn't let Lingxi's God Nation collapse. That was because the billions of lives could only survive because of the suppression of the Origin Dragon's soul. It was as though they were living within the Origin Dragon's soul. Moreover, the Origin Dragon Palace was connected to the myriad worlds. It wouldn't give Long Chen or Lingxi any pressure. We might need it. Prepare yourself. Long Chen reminded. I understand. As they spoke, they landed on the branch where the Divine Providence crystal had been born. Below them was a huge piece of land. Because the Divine Providence crystal had been born in this place, there were now hundreds of millions of creatures living in this light. Even their martial arts cultivation was growing in this light. Long Chen finally saw the builder wood god-containing crystal. It was a huge crystal that was still within the builder wood sacred tree. It had a diameter of a few thousand meters and was emitting a boundless light. Rings of light swept out from it. There's still more than half of it stuck within the builder wood sacred tree. It hasn't fully formed yet. When it's fully formed, I'll bring it away. Help me, protect me, and let me keep an eye on the phoenix race. Green Lightning Sage's eyes were filled with lightning as he said excitedly. We're so lucky. We came to the phoenix race to play around and we actually came across this thing. Luckily, I saw it. Otherwise, the phoenix race would have benefited so much. Quickly form, quickly form. Green Lightning Sage's eyes were filled with light. He was so excited that his entire body was trembling. At the same time, he commanded 5 heavenly venerables to receive him. The 5 heavenly venerables had ordered him to obtain the builder wood god-containing crystal. If he couldn't obtain it, he could destroy it. Hurry up. Green Lightning Sage naturally knew that this place was so close to the phoenix nest. The phoenix nest would definitely be able to sense the birth of a treasure here. If there were gods nearby, they would definitely come. At that time, there would definitely be a fight. Hence, the faster the builder wood god-containing crystal matured, the higher the possibility of him obtaining it. I don't know when it will fully form, but if the phoenix race doesn't come before it fully forms, wouldn't that fellow be benefiting from it? If I can restore the Lingsu dual swords to the order grade, I might be able to fight against those 5 heavenly venerables. Long Chen calmed his heart and observed the changes. He wanted to see whether the phoenix race would come first or the builder wood god-containing crystal would form first. There were still many variables, so he wasn't in a hurry to make a move. Yang Chen, don't tell me you want this thing? Green Lightning Sage asked when he saw that the crystal hadn't fully formed. Long Chen smiled and said, don't worry. My appetite isn't that big. I can't swallow this thing. That's good. Green Lightning, won't forget your help this time. In the future, if there are good things, I will share them with you, Green Lightning Sage said seriously. Long Chen smiled faintly. This fellow was really impatient. However, would being impatient be useful? At this time, the experts of the phoenix race had indeed arrived. Moreover, it was before the builder wood god-containing crystal was formed. Long Chen and Green Lightning Sage leaned against the builder wood god-containing crystal to face the enemy. Green Lightning Sage hurriedly said, if I can deal with it, you don't have to do anything. You don't need to reveal your strength for the time being. After all, you have to numb our opponents during the sacred battle. Even if you make a move, don't use your full strength. It's enough if you can entangle them. Oh. I understand. Long Chen smiled in his heart. This was even better. There were actually 3 from the phoenix race. Those 2 are one of the 5 saint clans of the phoenix race, the Swan and I. They will be hard to deal with. Moreover, these 2 seem to be Feng Chen and Huang Qiong. Green Lightning Sage's voice was slightly angry. There were definitely not many opponents in the phoenix race that could make him feel fear. The ones who had come should be experts. Long Chen looked carefully and saw a man and a woman in front. They both had long purple hair and purple eyes. Their skin and bodies were decorated with feathers. They looked very elegant. The handsome man and the beautiful woman had a dignified temperament similar to the Black Qilin. Their strength was also very majestic. Since Green Lightning Sage could recognize them, they should be great perfection realm god kings. They were one of the 5 saint clans of the phoenix race. The Swan and I was a purple pure-blooded phoenix. Green Lightning Sage, you're the one who destroyed the sacred leaf nest of our sacred leaf continent. We came to capture you, but we didn't expect that the builder-wood god-containing crystal would appear. This builder-wood god-containing crystal was born in the territory of our phoenix race. It belongs to us. Do you still dare to snatch it? Among the swan and I, the male Feng Chen shouted. Even Zhu Shi is here. Saint Venerable Green Lightning didn't blame Long Chen for letting the fire phoenix go. Instead, he called these three over. The divine accumulation crystal of the builder-wood had not matured yet. His gaze fell on the last petite girl from the Phoenix clan. This girl was a little different. One of her eyes was red and burning with flames. There was the image of a phoenix in her eyes. The other one was purple like the other two, like a cold pond. Her long hair was black. This girl looked very exquisite. Although she didn't look old, she would definitely be a great beauty in the future. She had bright eyes and white teeth. She also had the pure temperament of the phoenix race. She was even more unique. However, there was a hint of fierceness in her eyes, which slightly ruined her phoenix temperament. This girl should be Zhu Shi. However, she wasn't as good as Green Lightning Sage. She was a divine monarch at the primordial realm, but she was much younger than Green Lightning Sage. Previously, Green Lightning Sage had said that she was nurtured by the phoenix race. She was a genius of the phoenix race to deal with Green Lightning Sage. From the looks of it, her status in the phoenix race wasn't any lower than Green Lightning Sage's status in the human race. Green Lightning, you despicable dog. I can't wait to chop you into pieces and feed you to the dogs. You still dare to behave atrociously in the territory of my phoenix race. This time, I'll tear you into pieces. Although Zhu Shi wasn't as strong as the other two Feng Chen, she was still the core of the trio. Green Lightning Sage turned a deaf ear to her fierce words. Instead, he laughed and said to Long Chen, "Brother, look. In order to maintain the purity of the bloodline, the 5 sacred clans of the phoenix race have never mixed bloodlines. Now, to deal with me, they have created a bastard like Zhu Shi. Moreover, she has 2 incompatible bloodlines, the swan and I and the vermilion bird. What a joke." He carefully looked at the builder-wood divine essence crystal. It seemed that the power of the entire builder-wood sacred tree was gathering here. From the feeling, it should be about to take shape. "Kitten, you really like this little chili." In the god nation, Lingxi and the others couldn't help but tease Kitten. "What little chili?" "This is a phoenix, such a beautiful bird," Kitten said with fascination. "You've seen many in the past. Why aren't you moved?" Yang Lingqing rolled her eyes. "That's because, this is called being connected by blood. You wouldn't understand." Kitten said proudly. "Kitten, come here." Lingxi waved at him, letting him enter her god nation. She said, "Wait here, I'll bring you to see her later." "How?" "It's a secret." The battlefield outside was already very chaotic. The 2 phoenixes were indeed suppressing Green Lightning Saint, but the problem was that Green Lightning Saint had slaughtered countless lives. The 2 of them had too many considerations, causing them to be in a deadlock. Unless they were ruthless, it wouldn't be easy to defeat Green Lightning Saint. "Zhu Shi, make a move. We'll go all out too." If this continued, the situation would only get worse. Hence, Feng Chen and Huang Qiong had already made up their minds. The phoenix race placed great importance on love. In fact, they had even reached great heights in this aspect. For example, Feng Chen and Huang Qiong had actually jointly used a type of law. Phoenix seeking phoenix. The 2 of them spread their wings and intertwined with each other in the air. They spun around each other, causing boundless purple light to erupt. During this process, their strength started to fuse, creating an effect similar to that of Long Chen's 3 lifetimes love thread. This law could only be used between lovers. It also required deep feelings and the determination to live and die together. After the law, the power of the purple phoenix exploded. This time, they couldn't care less about the destruction. If they couldn't truly defeat Green Lightning Saint, more people would die. Zhu Shi was about to make a move. Long Chen was faster than her. He directly used his Destiny Heavenly Eye to suppress her. In that instant, Zhu Shi seemed to have lost all her strength. After that, she endured Long Chen's Heart's Eye of Desire, unable to move. Although she was slightly stronger than Sovereign Mu, she still couldn't escape the control of Long Chen's fate law. Stand there and don't move. Long Chen had a good impression of this girl. Although she was a little fierce, she seemed kind and righteous. There was a clear difference between her and Green Lightning Saint. Although Biyao was fierce, she was too delicate and arrogant. She was different from Zhu Shi. Moreover, Kitten had said some nonsense. Since they met because of fate, he didn't want to hurt her. Perhaps in the future, he could even help the kitten find a way to get along. You. What's wrong with you? Zhu Shi was so scared that her face turned pale. There was actually such a person who could make her unable to move with just a gaze. How terrifying was this? She was at the god realm of grand beginning. She thought that it wouldn't be long before she could surpass Green Lightning Saint. But now, she was being suppressed by Long Chen like this. Impossible. What sorcery did you use? She couldn't use her strength and couldn't move. Zhu Shi was so scared that she wanted to cry. If Long Chen attacked her now, she would probably die. Just don't move. Long Chen glanced at her, then raised his head. Under the combined power of Feng Chen and Huang Qiong, Green Lightning Saint had underestimated the enemy. Even if he had the protection of all living beings, he was still in a difficult situation. He was seriously injured and couldn't hold on any longer. Yang Chen, come and help me. Seeing that Long Chen had already suppressed Zhu Shi, Green Lightning Saint Venerable couldn't care less about his face at this time. Moreover, the building with Divine Essence Crystal hadn't formed yet, so he could only summon Long Chen over. Otherwise, if he were to be seriously injured in a few more moves, and the 5 Saint Emperors would come, he wouldn't be able to escape. Although the other side wouldn't dare to kill him, the building with Divine Essence Crystal would definitely be taken away. Alright. Long Chen knew that it would be like this. The 2 phoenixes were not to be trifled with. Moreover, their cooperation was perfect. Long Chen didn't say anything and rushed forward. The Lingsu dual swords appeared in his hands. He stared at Huang Qiong and raised his sword to the sky, blocking the 2 phoenixes and separating them. The 2 swords were on the left and right. Huang Qiong was about to go over, but Long Chen suppressed her with the Heavenly Eye of Destiny. Only then did she notice Long Chen. Shocked, she said, "Who are you? Why are you so strong?" Yang Chen, try to hide. Just hold him back. I'll kill this damn Tao Wu. Green Lightning Saint's pressure was greatly reduced. He became heroic again. It was hard for him to resist, but he reacted quickly. When Lao Ai attacked, he also attacked. A beam of heavenly retribution, carried by the soul-shattering sword Qi, shot towards Phoenix Qiong. While she was using her benevolence, righteousness, propriety, filial piety, and wisdom to suppress him, the power of heavenly retribution pierced into her body. Phoenix Qiong cried out in pain. Her rule had been interrupted, so it seemed like Long Chen was stronger. Long Chen's heavenly retribution didn't use his full power. He didn't want Phoenix Qiong to be injured, so under his control, the power of heavenly retribution dissipated. Everything returned to normal. You. Phoenix Qiong looked at Long Chen in shock. She naturally knew that Long Chen had withdrawn the power of heavenly retribution. Otherwise, she would have been injured. Not bad. Let's continue. Long Chen acted as if nothing had happened. He continued to attack. He was prepared to waste a little more time. As long as the building with Divine Reserve Crystal was formed, there would be no problem. Brother, Zhu Shi is still under your control, right? Saint Green Lightning hadn't taken down Phoenix Qiong yet. He was worried that the building with divine reserve crystal would form at this time. "Don't worry, there shouldn't be a problem," Long Chen said in a low voice. He continued to fight against Phoenix Chong. Just as he finished speaking, the light around the building with divine reserve crystal disappeared. The huge crystal started to shrink. In an instant, it was only the size of a fist. "It's formed." Everyone cried out in alarm. Saint Green Lightning quickly put down his opponent and rushed over. At this time, Zhu Shi actually recovered. In the blink of an eye, she kept the building with divine reserve crystal. She turned and sneered at Long Chen. "Do you really think you can suppress me? Idiot." With that, she immediately fled. Saint Venerable Green Lightning's expression changed drastically. He didn't have the time to reprimand Long Chen. Just as he was about to chase after Long Chen, Feng Chen blocked his path and mocked, "Saint Venerable Green Lightning, where are you going? Your opponent is me. How can you run around?" Scram! The lightning saint tree furiously attacked. "I'm really sorry. I didn't expect her to be able to break free. However, these two god kings are hard to deal with," Long Chen said apologetically. Holy Sage Green Lightning was like a madman as he chased after Zhu Shi. However, Feng Chen was constantly intercepting him, so he couldn't catch up to Zhu Shi. In the blink of an eye, Zhu Shi disappeared into the starry sky and left his field of vision. If she returned to the phoenix nest, she wouldn't be able to retrieve the divine essence crystal no matter what. Damn! Saint Green Lightning was about to go crazy. Even when he looked at Long Chen, his eyes were bloodshot. Of course, all of this didn't matter to Long Chen because he could let Zhu Shi go. However, Zhu Shi couldn't take the building with divine reserve crystal away. Someone was waiting for her. Two idiots. This is really funny. After fighting for so long, the building with divine reserve crystal still landed in my hands. After escaping, Zhu Shi held the building with divine reserve crystal and couldn't help but smile. She had vented her anger. In front of her was a boundless starry sky. She was heading in the direction of the phoenix nest, happily informing her elders that she had obtained the building with divine reserve crystal. Suddenly, a light flashed in front of her. A beautiful woman appeared in front of her. That woman was like an immortal, ethereal and serene. However, when Zhu Shi saw her, she couldn't help but sigh in admiration. So beautiful. Just as she finished speaking, the building with divine reserve crystal that she was holding in her hands was actually in her hands. Zhu Shi was stunned. What kind of method was this? She had unknowingly taken the building with divine reserve crystal from her hands. Actually, Lingxi had just used the Big Dipper technique to snatch the building with divine reserve crystal from her hands. This was much easier than she had imagined. She had thought that she would have to fight for it. This girl was a bit muddle-headed. When she saw Lingxi, she even forgot about the building with divine reserve crystal in her hands. Lingxi put away the world tree divine reserve crystal and smiled faintly. "If I were you, I would definitely hide something good after obtaining it." I. You, what was going on? It was clearly in her hands just now. Zhu Shi was about to cry. She looked at Lingxi in a daze. Although she still felt that the woman in front of her was very beautiful, she had snatched the building with divine reserve crystal. "Are you pregnant?" Zhu Shi's gaze landed on Lingxi's abdomen. She was shocked. She immediately forgot about the building with divine reserve crystal. Her eyes were filled with curiosity. She said with some surprise, "You're actually pregnant? Is there a child inside? When will it be born?" A crack appeared on the side and Kitten's head popped out. He looked at Zhu Shi with a sneaky look and said, "Little beauty, we meet again. It's really fate. We met twice in one day. The chances are not high. It's you. You're with that guy just now." Zhu Shi was instantly furious. The building with divine reserve crystal had actually been snatched by that guy. That guy could make her unable to move with just a glance. Don't worry. We're not with those wooden people. We really need the building with divine reserve crystal. We won't give it to those wooden people. I like you, so I snatched your building with divine reserve crystal. You can treat it as a gift to us. Also, keep it a secret for us. Don't let those wooden people know. Are you saying that they're wooden people? That's really funny. Haha. Zhu Shi couldn't help but laugh. Do you understand? Zhu Shi nodded and said, all right, it seems like you also want to beat those bastards. Of course, I agree with you. The group wasn't full. Devil Star, 2972699272. Can be added. Chapter 2799. She had planned to take the divine fruit crystal and leave immediately, but Kitten seemed to be very close to this girl. Zhu Shi was sometimes a little fierce, but she was also very likable, so Lingxi revealed her identity in front of her. They didn't have to worry too much. Now that they had the divine fruit crystal, Long Chen was more and more confident about the origin dragon soul of the spirit dragon. He actually couldn't wait to create a supreme divine dragon. Sister Lingxi, I'll use this tree talisman to contact you in the future. Don't lose my tree talisman. Zhu Shi said. Kitten rushed to say, I won't lose it, I definitely won't lose it. It has nothing to do with you. Zhu Shi rolled her eyes and became fierce again. Kitten was so scared that he smiled embarrassedly. He didn't expect that Kitten, who was smiling mischievously at Ji Yuan, would be scared by this little girl. Although he didn't know how old Zhu Shi was. For gods and demons, sometimes age didn't mean anything, especially for them, who spent most of their time cultivating. Then we'll go first. Zhu Shi, we'll come and find you next time. Lingxi waved goodbye to her. There wasn't any guilt in taking the divine fruit crystal. After all, letting Zhu Shi get it first was part of Long Chen's plan. Long Chen just used her to deceive Green Lightning Holy Venerable. From today's experience, the overall quality of the Phoenix race was better than that of the Divine Tree race. They weren't as competitive as the Divine Tree race, so they were easier to get along with. Therefore, Long Chen didn't plan to have a conflict with them. Of course, the divine fruit battle hadn't come yet, so no one knew what would happen then. In fact, the significance of the Builder Tree sacred battle to Long Chen was that it had given him sufficient time. During this period of time, he could seek out powerful opportunities on the Builder Tree. The divine fruit crystal was an opportunity for him. With a whoosh, Lingxi disappeared in front of Zhu Shi and returned to Long Chen's God Kingdom. It wasn't far and could be reached in an instant. Zhu Shi was stunned and murmured, "What kind of law is this? It's not that the speed is fast, but that it directly disappeared. If he was fast enough, he could also create such an effect, but the feeling was different." In the past, the God King of Hell could also disappear in front of Long Chen, but that was because he was fast. After Ling Shi's side was settled, it was time for Long Chen to leave. At this time, he was just delaying Huang Qiong. Saint Venerable Green Lightning's side had completely suppressed Feng Chen. Feng Chen had suffered serious injuries, but there was still some time before he was defeated. Saint Venerable Green Lightning, you don't have a chance anymore. Zhu Shi is about to return to the Phoenix Nest, and our Saint Emperors are about to arrive as well. You injured me, so the Saint Emperors will return to you. After Feng Chen said that, he suddenly gave Huang Qiong a look. The two of them broke away from their opponents and rushed towards the Phoenix Nest. They roughly knew that Zhu Shi was completely safe, which was why they dared to leave. After all, it was not easy for them to persist until now. Chase. Sacred Venerable Green Lightning's veins bulged, and his eyes were sinister. The meat that was about to enter their mouths was actually lost so quickly. Long Chen didn't leave. He said, "Let's go. If we don't leave now, we won't be able to leave when the enemy's experts arrive. It's already been a long time, and they should be arriving soon." At this time, the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal should be in the hands of the 5 Saint Emperors. Damn it. Green Lightning Saint was so angry that he almost died. He coldly glanced at Long Chen and said, "You dare to say that you weren't the one who released Zhu Shi in the end?" Long Chen couldn't be bothered to explain. He shook his head and said, "What benefits do I have? Are you still suspecting that I'm a spy from the Phoenix race? Actually, there's no need for that. If I stood on the Phoenix race's side, I could have taken your life this time. Then, together with the 5 Saint Emperors, we could attack your Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. As long as they can hold on, I and the other Phoenix race can destroy all your godly spirits. You guys are balanced, but my arrival will destroy that balance. Do you understand? I'm still standing on your side, but don't push me towards the Phoenix race." When the other party was tough, Long Chen was tougher than him. These words made Green Lightning Saint speechless. To be honest, Long Chen was worried that the 5 Saint Emperors would catch up. After all, he was the one who got the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal. If Green Lightning Saint still didn't leave, he would want to leave. "Let's go back first." Green Lightning Saint didn't dare to stay here any longer. The two of them quickly returned to the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. In fact, at this time, the 5 Heavenly Venerables came out to receive them. However, after hearing that the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal was taken by Zhu Shi, the 5 Heavenly Venerables' faces turned ugly. "If the 2 of you had used your full strength, it wouldn't have been taken away by the 3 of them, right?" Eastern Extreme Golden Wood Heavenly Venerable said in a deep voice. Green Lightning Saint said, "It can't be helped. I was the one who told Yang Chen not to show too much of his strength. After all, he had to prepare for the Builder Tree Sacred Battle. During that period of time, the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal was formed, which allowed Zhu Shi to take advantage of it. We were just unlucky. On the way back, the item had already been taken away by others. Hence, there wasn't much point in pursuing who was responsible." Long Chen remained calm. Although he knew that they must be secretly discussing how they would deal with him in the future, it wasn't certain who would deal with who in the future. After returning to the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace, Long Chen left first. He was in a hurry to use the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal to restore the Lingxu dual swords. Lingxi could do this. Hence, when he returned, she had already started. Just as he expected, Green Lightning Saint and the 5 Heavenly Venerables gathered together and secretly discussed. "Green Lightning, what exactly is going on?" The faces of the 5 Heavenly Venerables were very gloomy. Green Lightning Saint was the first to discover the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal. Green Lightning Saint shook his head and said, "To be honest, I'm not sure. But Masters, there's definitely something wrong with Yang Chen. If we let him stay here, I feel that something will happen sooner or later. It's better to kill him as soon as possible." Heavenly Venerables in the middle shook his head and said, "No, actually, I believe that he has nothing to do with the Phoenix clan. With his strength, it's impossible for him to be controlled by the Phoenix clan. However, he definitely has his own ambitions. Maybe he wants to rely on himself to dominate the Builder Tree Sacred Tree. This time, we have lost the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal. We must win the next Builder Tree Sacred Battle, and we must make use of Yang Chen's value. He's a human, so he definitely can't fight for the Phoenix clan. However, he can fight for us. From today onwards, we just have to keep an eye on Long Yang Chen until the end of the Builder Tree Sacred Battle." The other 4 Heavenly Venerables agreed. If ordinary people keep an eye on him, they will definitely notice. Let the Heavenly Venerables do it. Even the 5 of us have to keep an eye on him at all times to see what kind of ambitions he has. Green Lightning Saint asked, "In other words, we can't kill him now?" "I think he's a dangerous person. The sooner we kill him, the better." West Pole Heavenly Venerable Waterwood said softly, "Don't worry, there's no one on the Builder Tree that we can't control." Although he said that, Green Lightning Saint was still angry. His intuition told him that he was definitely fooled by Long Chen today. Although Long Chen didn't seem to get any benefits in the end, when he thought about how indifferent he was as if nothing had happened, Green Lightning Saint felt frustrated again. The last time he was frustrated was when he was defeated. Being suppressed twice made him very depressed. He hadn't felt so depressed for countless years. He left the palace of the 5 heavenly venerables. As soon as he came out, Yu Yan, who was exquisitely dressed, was waiting for him outside. She quickly held Green Lightning Saint's arm and gently rubbed against it. She said in a sweet voice, "Brother Green Lightning, I've been waiting for you for a long time. I heard that you're in the Phoenix clan, scram." Green Lightning Saint wasn't in a good mood. His expression turned sinister as he casually flung the defenseless Yu Yan away. Yu Yan slammed heavily into the inner walls of the Builder Tree Divine Palace. With a loud rumble, Yu Yan was only a deity at the Taiji deity realm. Naturally, she couldn't endure such pressure. Her internal organs trembled as she coughed out a mouthful of blood and slumped to the ground. She didn't expect things to turn out like this. Yu Yan. Wan Qing happened to see this scene. In that instant, his eyes turned bloodshot. He simply forgot everything as he rushed over like a madman and helped Yu Yan up. The woman in his arms stared at Green Lightning Saint in a daze. Her expression was incomparably distorted, and her mind was completely blank. Scram. Green Lightning Saint indifferently said a single word as he prepared to leave. Stop right there. Wan Qing didn't know where he got his courage from as he roared in rage. Wan Qing knelt on the ground and kowtowed continuously in front of Long Chen. Long Chen was a little surprised. He didn't expect this guy to have such courage. This was the power of love. He couldn't help but ask, "She betrayed you, but you are still willing to do this for her?" "I'm willing. It doesn't matter if I live or die. I can't see her suffer." Wan Qing was still kowtowing heavily. "Why?" "There's no reason. I should do this." Long Chen's view of Wan Qing changed a little. Every life was fresh, and everyone was fighting against their own fate. He was like this, and so was Wan Qing. No matter how lowly a life was, it had its own dream, protection, and pursuit. The myriad worlds should be equal, and the strong should serve the weak. There shouldn't be a huge gap like the gap between Holy Sage Green Lightning and Wan Qing. Dream, protection, and pursuit. The 2 most important things were courage and love. Today, for love, Wan Qing had the courage to kneel in front of Long Chen. Not bad. Long Chen admired his courage and sacrifice at this moment. If you want to achieve your goal, the first thing you have to do is wait. Long Chen said calmly. Wait. Wan Qing raised his head in shock. Yes, wait for the time to come. It won't be too long. If you don't even have this bit of control, your dream will only be a fantasy. Just wait quietly. There will be a chance. After saying this, Long Chen didn't pay attention to him anymore. He was also thinking of ways to find an opportunity. The most important thing now was to see how much the Divine Essence Crystal could restore the Ling Su swords. Phoenix Nest. The highest place in the Phoenix Nest was the sacred place of the Phoenix clan. It was the place where the 5 Saint Emperors held their meeting. Only the Saint Emperors could enter. Zhu Shi, Feng Chen, and Huang Qiong had been summoned to this palace. The palace was dark. 5 strong gods were sitting in the darkness. Zhu Shi and the others came in and bowed. Feng Chen and Huang Qiong were more restrained, but Zhu Shi was more casual. She had been here many times. Feng Chen, tell us what you saw and heard today. One of the 5 Saint Emperors asked. Feng Chen stood up and said, Huang Qiong, Zhu Shi, and I heard Huo Wu's call for help. We knew that Green Lightning Saint Venerable was attacking the Sacred Leaf Continent, so we rushed over. On the way, we saw the Divine Essence Crystal forming. Green Lightning Saint Venerable and an unknown human were there. They fought over the Divine Essence Crystal. Huang Qiong and I fought Green Lightning Saint Venerable first, while Zhu Shi fought the unknown human. From then on, Feng Chen told him everything that had happened. After that, Huang Qiong added, that unknown human was very strange. In the beginning, when he fought with Zhu Shi, he used a strange law to suppress Zhu Shi. He made Zhu Shi unable to move, but he didn't hurt Zhu Shi. Then, when Green Lightning Saint Venerable asked him to stop me, he could have defeated me several times, but he didn't do anything. Zhu Shi interrupted and said, also, the reason I was able to obtain the Builder with Divine Essence Crystal was because he suddenly let me go. Later on, the beautiful big sister Lingxi took away my Builder with Divine Essence Crystal. That big brother wasn't in cahoots with Saint Venerable Green Lightning. He used me to steal the Builder with Divine Essence Crystal. Feng Chen and Huang Qiong roughly explained their situation. The 5 Saint Emperors let them leave first. Then, one of them said to Zhu Shi, "Little Zhu Shi, do you know what law he used to imprison you?" In other words, that human strength might have surpassed Green Lightning Saint Venerables. He's almost at the Great Perfection God King realm, right? Zhu Shi thought about it and said, I don't understand the law at all. As for his strength, it seems like he's only at the Divine Monarch realm. However, he can control the entire scene, so it should be about the same. But you don't need to worry. Sister Lingxi said that they came from another world. They're just temporarily staying with the human race. After all, they're also humans. But she also said that she won't help the human race attack us. She doesn't look like a bad person. I'll tell you this, but you can't let others know that they took the Divine Essence Crystal. If the human race knows about it, they'll definitely be in danger. Is that so? The 5 Saint Emperors were still a little confused. Little Zhu Shi, why do you trust them so much? What if they're lying to you? Asked a male Saint Emperor. Zhu Shi laughed and said, I'm smart. That's impossible. Plus, they have a cat beast. It's quite cute, just like the Saint God in the painting. Saint God. The 5 Saint Emperors' voice trembled. Another Saint Emperor immediately said, Zhu Shi, you can't say things like that. According to the legends, the Saint God is an existence that saved our Phoenix race a long time ago. But that legend has passed too long ago. How can there be an existence like the Saint God in the myriad worlds now? The Saint God is so strong. Where did he go? Zhu Shi pouted and asked. This. No one knows. Let's not talk about this. We have to discuss this. If that unknown human helped them in the Builder Tree's sacred war, wouldn't it be even more troublesome for us to obtain the Builder Tree sacred soul? The human race is so aggressive. If we allow them to grow stronger, our Phoenix race will suffer a calamity sooner or later. Zhu Shi was also very angry and said, these humans are too despicable. They can't just sit still. They will only be satisfied when they occupy the entire Builder Tree sacred tree. If our Phoenix race becomes stronger, they will be more obedient. It's all because we aren't strong enough. However, we won't be like them, always wanting to kill people and occupy territory. They are obviously bad people, but Big Sister Lingxi is obviously a good person. After that, Kitten said, Boss, I have already arranged a meeting place with her. She is waiting for us there. Let's go quickly. If there was anything, Shu Fu could just say it, but Kitten insisted on meeting. Seeing that he was so excited, as if he had been injected with chicken blood, Long Chen could only fulfill his wish. He found an opportunity to leave the Divine Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. That guy is still watching us, Lingxi said softly. Yes, it has been 2 months. Long Chen shuttled through the void. There was a god secretly following behind him. Long Chen remembered that this was one of the 10 celestial venerables of the Divine Builder Tree Divine Clan. He was at the same level as celestial venerables, a consummate celestial venerables. His name was Celestial Venerables Blue Flame. Get rid of him. Long Chen entered the time-roaming dragon state and disappeared in front of Celestial Venerables Blue Flame in the blink of an eye. He accelerated a few times and completely shook him off. This time, Zhu Shi went directly to the human side. Long Chen could easily find her. Where is Sister Lingxi? Zhu Shi opened her eyes wide. She did not like to see Long Chen. Little beauty, did you miss me? Kitten jumped out and blocked Zhu Shi's path with a mischievous smile. Go away, I don't want to see you. Zhu Shi glared at Kitten, scaring him. There was really a day when a fearless guy like him would be subdued. Why did you ask us to come here? Lingxi asked gently. I sneaked out this time. I want to ask you guys who will become my friends. Can you take me away from here in the future? Zhu Shi said with anticipation. Why do you want to leave here? Lingxi asked. Zhu Shi curled her lips and said, those old fellows are too annoying. They make me chase after celestial venerables blue lightning every day and make me awaken some bloodline these days. It really hurts. I think you guys can travel the myriad worlds. My dream since young is to travel the myriad worlds. It would be great if I could go with you guys. As a reward, no matter what you want, you can ask me for help. I can persuade the Saint Emperors to help you guys. Kitten immediately laughed and said, no problem, I promise you on behalf of the divine nation's 1 trillion handsome men and beautiful women. Zhu Shi naturally did not know what 1 trillion was. But Long Chen wanted the origin dragon soul. The phoenix race should also value the builder-wood sacred soul very much. Even if Zhu Shi could agree, the phoenix race might not agree. Zhu Shi had the personality of a child, so he said, you go back first. I can promise you that when we are about to leave this place, we will look for you. Rest assured. Zhu Shi knew that Long Chen was the backbone of their group. With his promise, this matter was settled. Traveling the myriad worlds was indeed her dream since young. This was also why she was so excited when she heard that Lingxi came from another world. Long Chen understood that she did not know her destiny at this time. She was the hope of the phoenix race. If she left, the phoenix race would be suppressed by the human race in the future. However, what changes would happen to the human race in the future was still uncertain. If the two races could be balanced, it would not lead to the destruction of one side. It did not matter if Zhu Shi was willing to go with him. Kitten wanted her to go anyway. Then the first place I want to go is the fiend god Biyao mountain. It is not far from the divine wood sacred tree. Zhu Shi jumped up excitedly and said as she jumped. Fiend god Biyao mountain, is it a world? How powerful is it? Long Chen saw that she was so excited, so he asked casually. Zhu Shi rolled her eyes at him and said, you're so ignorant. You don't even know about the fiend god Biyao mountain. That's the pillar that supports the myriad of worlds. Chapter 2802. Blue Flame Saint Venerable is here. Long Chen sensed his approach and said to Zhu Shi, the builder god race has people following us. Go back to the phoenix race first so we won't be suspected. If anything happens in the future, use the tree talisman to contact us. There's no need to come out. Then you have to promise to take me with you. Zhu Shi was afraid he was lying. Don't worry, if he won't take you with him, I will. Kitten patted his chest and said. I don't need you to take me with you. Zhu Shi rolled her eyes and ran away, leaving Kitten in the wind. What's so special about her? Long Chen looked at Zhu Shi and then at Kitten. Kitten pretended to be deep in thought and sighed, I don't know. It's an ill-fated relationship. It feels like I've loved her before. His flirtatious words made everyone burst into laughter. What are you laughing at? You mortals don't understand love. Kitten snorted and went back to sleep. At this time, Blue Flame Saint Venerable quickly approached. The others also went back. Swoosh. Long Chen appeared in front of Blue Flame Saint Venerable. This was a tall and sturdy man. His blue hair was like burning flames, and his deep blue eyes seemed to contain boiling lava. His skin was also slightly blue, and there was a faint flicker of fire. He was a perfection stage god king with extremely powerful attack power. He also had a very high reputation in the construction wood tribe, and there were tens of thousands of versions of his legend, which were spread among the people. "You're looking for me." Long Chen smiled at him. "Ah." Blue Flame Saint Venerable was shocked and took a few steps back. He immediately smiled and said, "What are you talking about, Saint Venerable Yang? I just happened to pass by. Why are you here? Did you come out to relax?" Long Chen smiled. "Indeed, I left Sangtian continent to see other worlds. So, I wandered around when I was free. I'm on my way back to Builder God's celestial palace." Blue Flame Saint Venerable, do you want to come with me? Blue Flame Saint Venerable shook his head. "I still have something to do. Go back first. I'll visit another day and ask Saint Venerable Yang about cultivation. Let's learn from each other." Long Chen arrived in front of him. As he brushed past him, he gently patted his shoulder and said, "Since that's the case, I'll take my leave first. See you later." Blue Flame Holy Senior was shocked. He thought that Long Chen was going to attack him, but it was just a casual touch. By the time he reacted, Long Chen had already left. He must have known that I'd been following him. Yet, he managed to shake me off. He's toying with me. What is he doing here? Could he really be related to the Phoenix clan? The Blue Flame Saint Venerable was still following Long Chen. "I'm a dignified Saint Sovereign, and yet I'm doing something like stalking him. How preposterous. If it weren't for the Builder Tree Holy War, the Celestial Sovereigns would have slaughtered him long ago. Even if they didn't, I wouldn't be able to hold it in any longer." Long Chen quickly returned to the Builder Tree God's celestial palace. "Did he stay?" Long Chen asked. "Yes, no matter where he goes, I can get to his side in an instant." Lingxi nodded. This was the effect of stellar transposition. "Next, we'll just have to wait." Long Chen was angry that Blue Flame Saint Venerable kept following him. He had been at the Builder Tree for so long and it was still silent. It was time to start the battle. But this time, he didn't attack. He let Lingxi, Mo Xiaolang, and Soi Yan attack. His main goal was to help Mo Xiaolang break through to the God King realm. It was impossible for the 5 celestial venerables to let the Blue Flame's holy venerables follow Long Chen all the time. The Blue Flame's holy venerables would also complain, especially after Long Chen found out this time. The celestial venerables changed to another holy venerable to monitor Long Chen at all times. This time, it was more secretive, and the Blue Flame's holy venerables were free. Most of the time, he was active in the Builder Tree God's celestial palace. Occasionally, he would head out, but he was more careful. He wasn't far from the Builder Tree God's celestial palace. This Blue Flame Saint Venerable isn't a good person. Maybe it's because of the sky-swallowing race's change. In their hearts, mortals aren't much. Deaths and injuries are just numbers. He left Blue Flame Saint Venerable's position. Lingxi could more or less see his words and actions. For example, every time he headed out, he would find talented young men and women and bring them back to nurture. But his methods were very rough. He would directly wipe their memories and even kill their parents. Then, he would start to instill in them that he was the one who created them. "When he's far away, I'll attack." It didn't seem easy to wait for the Azure Flame's holy venerate to go far. 2 months ago, the opportunity finally came. This time, the Azure Flame's holy venerate headed towards the bottom of the Builderwood Holy Tree's trunk and arrived at the location of the roots. Finally, he followed the roots to a planet that had been pierced by the roots. Today is the day. Long Chen was still in the Builder Tree God's celestial palace. This way, he would have an alibi. And Lingxi's Big Dipper was very useful. Although the distance was very far, she had enough time to prepare. She could directly go from Long Chen's God Nation to where Blue Flame Saint Venerable was. Even on the planet above the tree roots, there were quite a few living beings. But to the living beings here, most of the sky was covered by the shadow of the Builder Tree. The reason the Blue Flame Saint Venerable had come here was because this planet was his. There were tens of thousands of young men and women on this planet, and they had all been nurtured by him. The conditions here were slightly harsh, and resources were scarce. Such an environment was more suitable for nurturing ruthless experts. He also hoped that his future disciples would become deities. This was a pitch-black planet. It was filled with cracks. Below the cracks was endless lava. The temperature was very high. There wasn't a single tree on the planet. Even if there was, it would quickly burn. The planet wasn't big, but there were tens of thousands of young men and women eating raw meat and drinking blood. Blue Flame Saint Venerable turned into a flame and appeared in the sky above the planet. The flame soared for 100,000 feet and condensed into Blue Flame Saint Venerable's appearance. He appeared in the vision of all the young men and women. The bright flame in the sky illuminated the entire planet. Seeing this flame, all the children hurriedly knelt on the ground and kowtowed. God. The children were incomparably respectful. They didn't dare to be negligent at all. Not bad. Many of you have made new progress. The voice of the Blue Flame Saint reverberated throughout the entire planet, rousing the spirits of the youths. However, at this moment, his voice turned cold as he said, "But you're still far from my requirements. Continue killing. I'll give you a year's time. There are a total of 33,383 of you here. After a year, 10 of you who are still alive will become my disciples. If more than 10 people are still alive, then all of you will die. Do you understand what I'm saying?" "Yes." Tens of thousands of people said with trembling voices. They already knew their ending. They remembered that when they first came, there were a total of 100,000 of them. Now, there were only 30,000 left. During this year, they spent their time in endless killing. If they killed one more person, they would have a higher chance of surviving. There were a total of 100,000 people, but in the end, only 10 would survive and become the Blue Flame Saint Venerable's disciples. Most of the time, they didn't want to become the Blue Flame Saint Venerable's disciples. They wanted to survive. Pain, fear, and the 70,000 people who died in despair. There was only 1 year left and there were only 10 survivors. They would definitely want to escape. But this planet was sealed. Whoever dared to escape would be turned to dust. It might even trigger the restrictions and cause the death of their parents who were still at home. So, no one dared to escape. They also didn't dare to hate the Blue Flame Saint Venerable. If they had any thoughts, they wouldn't be able to escape the Blue Flame Saint Venerable's senses. They would be killed. So, the most important thing for them to do was to hypnotize themselves and follow the Blue Flame Saint Venerable. This pitch-black land was filled with the blood and tears of too many young women. If this pitch-black planet turned blood red in the future, it would definitely be dyed red by blood. Very well. In 1 year, I will descend again. I hope to see less than 10 people left. If you want to live, then kill to your heart's content. There's not much time left. The winner can become a god and control the world. The loser will become a ghost. The Blue Flame Saint Venerable laughed. The young men and women were all trembling. The Blue Flame Saint Venerable was leaving. The people on the planet didn't dare to look up. They only dared to look at the flickering blue flames imprinted on the ground in the sky. Suddenly, a wisp of white light appeared in the blue flames. "Who are you?" The Blue Flame Saint Venerable's surprised voice came from the starry sky. Everyone looked up. They could vaguely see that a fairy-like woman had appeared in front of the Blue Flame Saint Venerable. She was so beautiful and holy. Then, a black-haired, cold-looking young man and a cute girl with a snake tail appeared. The three of them surrounded the Blue Flame Saint Venerable. "The person who will take your life," said the black-haired youth. Chapter 2804. Green snow was a unique sealing law. The falling snowflakes were not real snowflakes, but the power of laws. God Emperor Ling Su's laws of spirit contained many strange techniques. It was mysterious and strange, and at times, it could even produce unimaginable effects. This was also the reason why Lingxi, a mere primordial god king, could restrain the azure flames Saint Venerable. Of course, the most important reason was that she used a portion of Long Chen's power through the 3 lifetimes threads. This was the reason why she was able to suppress the azure flames Saint Venerable. With the support of Long Chen, Lingxi could only possess limitless power. Just as the devil flame tree appeared, under Ling Xi's vast green snow law, countless snowflakes descended, drowning the devil flame tree and even freezing it. In just an instant, an incomparably huge green snow flower floated in the starry sky, freezing the devil flame tree within this law. Seal. The combination of the green snowflake and the blue flame tree was a perfect picture. Under the seal of the green snowflake, the azure flames Saint Venerable was injured to a certain extent. In the long run, he might even be heavily injured. Under this torture, the azure flames Saint Venerable was even more enraged. He activated the power of the flames in his body and finally exploded, blasting the green snowflake. But under the suppression of the green snowflake, the blue flames on the demon flame tree were already dispirited. The azure flames Saint Venerable roared in anger. He had just broken free and was about to counterattack when Ling Xi suddenly appeared behind him at an extremely close distance. With a light tap of her finger, she pointed at the center of the demonic flame tree and a sword light pierced through it. Heart-shattering sword finger. Another heavenly rule spiritual technique. Go and die. The azure flames Saint Venerable's flames expanded and was about to swallow Lingxi. But at that instant, Lingxi disappeared before his eyes and appeared far away in the sky. The attack from the heart-shattering sword finger did not disappear. The azure flames Saint Venerable cried out in pain again. This time, it was the damage to his primordial spirit, causing him to tremble uncontrollably. Azure flames, what's wrong? You have to hold on. We will need some time before we can come over. The 5 heavenly venerables were a little anxious. Previously, they had only thought that Saint Blue Flames would be slightly punished. They had not expected him to be so magical. Under the heart-shattering finger sword, the flames on the demon flame tree of the blue flames Holy Venerate could no longer be controlled. At this moment, Mo Xiaolang, who had been lying low for a long time, appeared in front of him. Gather heart flame. The blue flame Saint Sovereign was shocked. Lingxi had scared him out of his wits, and when he suddenly saw Mo Xiaolang, he was overwhelmed with shock. He hurriedly gathered all the branches and leaves at one point, and poured all the flames into this point. This was a rather tyrannical law. He had gathered all the flame energy at one point, and when it exploded, the power produced was unimaginable. Scram! The blue flame saint stabbed the heart-gathering flame at Mo Xiaolang. What he didn't expect was that Mo Xiaolang didn't retreat. Instead, he charged forward and tore down the heart-gathering fire, swallowing it in one gulp. You're courting death. The blue flame Saint Sovereign was stunned. He could not help but want to laugh out loud. He had never seen such a stupid opponent before. The might of the heart-gathering flame was extremely strong, far surpassing that of the blue flame tree from before. But to think that Mo Xiaolang would swallow it. As long as the blue flame Saint Sovereign caused it to explode, Mo Xiaolang would definitely turn into dust. Explode! The blue flame Saint Sovereign roared. But at this moment, Mo Xiaolang rushed at him once more. He opened his mouth and spat out 2 balls of flames. They didn't attack the blue flame Saint Sovereign, but collided in front of him and exploded. The collision of 2 types of ancestral flames was the true explosion. Boom! The branches and leaves on the body of the blue flame Saint Sovereign shattered one after another. Blue flames rained down, covering the entire world. Where's the heart-gathering flame? The blue flame Saint Sovereign was stunned. Why didn't the heart-gathering flame explode? That was one of the laws that he was the proudest of. Spirit-splitting art. Just as the blue flame Saint Sovereign was retreating from the explosion, Lingxi suddenly appeared behind him. The pure white light in her eyes shone brightly and her pure immortal source energy burst forth. That tender palm of hers brought with it an endless amount of power as she imprinted it on the demon flame tree's law core. Spirit-splitting art. This was the most shocking killing move out of all the 6 heavenly rules spirit arts that Lingxi knew. This was the most intense tremor, even stronger than the heart-shattering sword finger. The heart-shattering sword finger dealt with the law core while this spirit-splitting art struck the world tree directly. The world tree was connected to the god palace. The moment the spirit-splitting art was activated, the connection between the world tree and the god palace was broken. At this moment, the blue flame saint sovereign lost his source of energy. The god palace was the core of one's power. Everyone's god palace was different. Long Chen's was a living being while the blue flame saint sovereign's was a blue flame. His source of energy might be able to recover after some time, but Lingxi and the others didn't give him the chance. Wang. The blue flame saint sovereign's body trembled violently. There was a loud explosion. What followed was the most painful and panicked scream of the blue flame saint sovereign. What's wrong? Long Chen asked in a pretentious manner. Blue flame saint sovereign has perished. Holy venerable green lightning panted heavily as azure lightning flashed in his eyes. Wan Qing, who was outside, also heard this news and nearly fell to the ground. Blue flame saint sovereign. He thought of Long Chen. That's right, he knew that it had to be Long Chen who did it, but Long Chen was here. Were they killed by those 3? Weren't they said to be 3 primordial godly monarchs? Long Chen asked with a frown. Although he had done it, he still had to put on an act. Holy venerable green lightning narrowed his eyes as he looked at Long Chen. However, he recalled what the heavenly venerables had said. They just had to endure for another 2 months. Furthermore, there was no evidence to prove that this matter was related to Long Chen. He could only try his best to ease the situation. That's right, it's them. Now, the heavenly venerables have arrived and are dealing with them. Although Blue Flames is dead, these 3 foreign race godly monarchs must die as well. He said in a cruel tone. If Long Chen was an accomplice, he would definitely be nervous when he heard this news. However, Long Chen didn't feel anything. He said, I'm rather curious as to who did it. Since the heavenly venerables have arrived, it seems like these 3 won't be able to escape even if they grow wings. What a joke. Through the love thread of 3 lifetimes, he even knew how Lingxi had done it. How could he be deceived by holy venerable green lightning? Furthermore, he roughly knew the distance. It was still a long time before the heavenly venerables arrived. Holy venerable green lightning couldn't probe Long Chen, so he could only say, this matter can't be made known to the Phoenix race. I hope brother can keep it a secret. Long Chen said, don't worry. Even without holy venerable blue flames, I will definitely do my best in the divine tree sacred battle. I will defeat as many opponents as I can. Chapter 2805. However, he was still slightly shocked. He did not know where this god Emperor Ling Su came from. At the very least, the 6 heavenly rules and spirit techniques that Lingxi was cultivating were rather extraordinary. Although they were not as domineering as the ancestral dragon laws, they were very strange and powerful. They did not seem like something that a mere god emperor could create. Especially that spirit-splitting art. Lingxi was just an initial god king. Just by using a little of her strength, she was able to cripple the Azure Flame Saint Venerable. Lingxi could almost defeat the Azure Flame Saint Venerable with just those few heavenly rules and spirit techniques. In this battle, Soi Eon did not help much. She only used the Azure Flame tree once and the battle ended in a short time. When the Azure Flame Saint Venerable disappeared, the remaining 30,000 people on the planet knelt on the ground. They were suffocating and their faces were filled with disbelief. After a long time, they looked at Lingxi and the others with tears in their eyes. Mo Xiaolang was currently suppressing and digesting the Azure Flame Saint Venerable. Soi Eon was accompanying him. Lingxi wanted to leave immediately but seeing so many people trapped here, she quickly came down. It was not difficult for the Azure Flame Saint Venerable to seal the restrictions here. Lingxi easily resolved it. In fact, all of them had something similar to a curse on them. It was most likely connected to their families. Lingxi also helped them resolve it. Such a goddess touched the hearts of the young men and women. All of you can go home now. Hurry up. In a while, the 5 heavenly venerables of the Skywood Divine Celestial Palace will be here. At that time, all of you might not be able to leave. Lingxi gently informed everyone. These young men and women were not old. They had been forcefully captured and brought here to experience cruel torture. Thank you. They had escaped death and the image of Lingxi was deeply engraved in their hearts. Then, they left in the direction of the tree roots. Although they were slow, they took care of each other. One day, they would be able to return to their original homes. After a year of training with the Azure Flame Saint Venerable, they had a certain level of strength. Let's go. It would take about a quarter of an hour to return to Long Chen's divine kingdom, even with time transposition. Mo Xiaolang and Soi Yan returned to Lingxi's divine kingdom, while Lingxi stayed alone in the starry sky. The white light on her body became a beacon in the hearts of tens of thousands of young people. When they fled, they couldn't help but look up at Lingxi. Until one time, when they looked up, Lingxi suddenly disappeared. Where did he go? I don't know. Perhaps they were specially arranged by the heavens to save us. That's right, that heavenly deity doubtless deserves to die. Today, they could finally voice out the dissatisfaction in their hearts. Within the Builder Tree Divine Heavenly Palace, Lingxi was back. Mo Xiaolang and Soi Yan also came out. It was really dangerous this time. That blue flame holy venerable is quite powerful. Without Big Brother Long Chen by my side, I'm still a little nervous. Soi Yan heaved a sigh of relief. She was no longer nervous. Lingxi had also completed her mission. She had matured a lot. In the past, Long Chen had to worry about her every day. But now, there was no need. Her growth made her even more charming in Long Chen's heart. However, that blue flame holy venerable is too disgusting. His death isn't worth pitying. Soi Yan thought of those young men and women and felt uncomfortable. Mo Xiaolang was currently in the midst of raising his realm. In a few years, he would definitely be able to reach the God King realm. In addition to the 2 ancestral flames, he could even devour the blue flame holy venerable's laws. After he succeeded, he would probably be able to approach Long Chen once again. He might even be able to defeat a perfect stage God King alone. Their battle experience and awareness would still be stronger than Soi Yan and Lingxi. Have a good rest. Long Chen was very satisfied with their performance this time. The stronger their team was, the closer they were to the origin dragon soul. Making them stronger was also his responsibility. This was also something Long Qinglan had entrusted to him. Who would be the next candidate? There were still 2 months left. Long Chen waited for the few people in the divine nation to settle down before asking Green Lightning Holy Venerable, did the Celestial Venerables kill those 3 enemies? Green Lightning Holy Venerable said awkwardly, not yet, but they have been captured. They will probably be brought back. Previously, in order to test Long Chen, he had lied. Now that the Celestial Venerables hadn't arrived yet, he was too lazy to lie. He said, I still have things to do, so I'll leave first. I'll come back in a few days to tell you about the plan for the Building Tree Sacred War. After he left, everyone laughed. This fool thinks he's so smart, but he's not even 1/10 as smart as this young master. Kitten said proudly. Chen, when Xiao Lang becomes a God King, are we going to deal with this Green Lightning Holy Venerable? Lingxi asked. After all, this Green Lightning Holy Venerable was the most brutal and deserved to die the most. Long Chen shook his head and said, he's not enough. If he falls, this place will be in complete chaos. I'll see if there are other suitable holy venerables in these few days. Yen has stayed in her current realm for a long time. It's time for her to recover as soon as possible. He wanted to make Soi Yan and the others stronger. As for himself, he was confident. About half an hour later, the 5 celestial venerables arrived at the previous battlefield. Where is he? The 5 celestial venerables gathered together. Why is it that after searching everywhere, he seems to have disappeared into thin air? Everyone's expression was ugly. I don't believe that we can't find him in our Jinmu's sacred tree with 3 god kings. We must find these 3 before the sacred battle. The 5 of us will do it ourselves. From today onwards, each of us will be in charge of an area. I don't believe that he can escape from the 5 of us. Okay. Losing the Blue Flame Saint and not being able to find the culprit was a huge loss. I asked Green Lightning to keep an eye on Yang Chen. He might be the culprit. The West Pole Jellyfish Heavenly Venerable said and contacted the Green Lightning Holy Venerable. Then, she said helplessly, Green Lightning said that he lied to Yang Chen just now, saying that we have already caught the 3 murderers, but Yang Chen wasn't worried at all. These 3 people should have nothing to do with him. Then, who could it be? Look carefully, they can't just disappear. Before the sacred battle of the Jinmu's sacred tree, the Blue Flame Saint had fallen. Such news was bound to cause panic, and the 5 celestial venerables didn't dare to announce it at all. The 5 of them searched in the territory of the Jinmu's sacred tree for a full half a month, but they couldn't find any traces of Lingxi and the others. Seeing that the sacred battle of the Jinmu's sacred tree was right in front of them, they had to give up. They didn't know the rules of the time passage technique, so naturally, they didn't know that Lingxi was in Long Chen's kingdom of God. Whether the 3 murderers were from the Phoenix race, or together with Long Chen, or even all 3 of them, the celestial venerables thought for a long time and had to take a gamble. In fact, the Blue Flame Saint wasn't a candidate for the sacred battle, so his death wouldn't affect the sacred battle. In fact, Long Chen had always been very obedient, and spent most of his time cultivating in the Jinmu's sacred tree. The celestial venerables only slightly suspected him, but they couldn't be sure. They still hoped that Long Chen could help them win the sacred battle. On this day, South Pole Celestial Venerable Huomu suddenly came to see Long Chen. This man with red hair came to Long Chen. The death of the Blue Flame Saint didn't seem to be a big deal to him. He smiled and said to Long Chen, Your Excellency Yang Chen, I came here this time mainly to explain the sacred battle of the Jinmu's sacred tree. There is still a month before the sacred battle. At that time, we will arrange the order of battle according to the opponent's appearance. I hope you can listen to our arrangements. Long Chen smiled and said, Heavenly Venerates don't need to be polite with me. Since I promised you, I will definitely do my best in this building tree sacred battle. I will do whatever Heavenly Venerates ask me to do. I have also troubled you these past few days. If I don't put in some effort, I will feel bad. South Pole Celestial Venerable Huomu shook his head and said, You came from afar and are our guest. It's indeed a bit unreasonable for us to ask you to fight for us. It's okay, I left the firmament mainland to make friends. It's my honor to make friends with 5 celestial venerables, Long Chen said politely. Having said that, South Pole Celestial Venerable Huomu changed his tone and said, Thank you very much. If you can help us win, I have a small gift for you. It's an order-level primordial immortal spirit called the Thousand-Eyed Fire Tree. It's mainly because it's not fully mature yet. Otherwise, I could give it to you now. Although he said that, Long Chen understood what he really meant. If Long Chen could help them win, he would be rewarded with an order-level primordial immortal spirit. This was the most valuable gift they could give him. Regarding the Thousand-Eyed Fire Tree, the first thing that came to Long Chen's mind was that it might be useful to Mo Shaolang. It sounded like a fire-type treasure. However, he quickly realized that Mo Shaolang had devoured the Blue Flame Holy Sage. The 5 celestial venerables must have guessed that the sun-devouring demonic wolf liked to devour flames, so they used the Thousand-Eyed Fire Tree to test him. If Long Chen showed any interest in the Thousand-Eyed Fire Tree, he would have fallen into their trap. They were testing Long Chen for the final time. Long Chen thought that it was a close call and hurriedly said, The Thousand-Eyed Fire Tree. The laws I cultivate have nothing to do with flames, so I'm afraid I won't be able to use it. It's definitely precious to celestial venerables, so it's better for you to keep it. There's no rush. We'll talk about it when the thousand-eyed fire tree matures. No matter what, as long as you win for us, we will definitely reward you handsomely. Longchen smiled and said, it's mainly because the 5 celestial venerables took action. I'm just going through the motions, so it can't be considered a contribution. However, I might want to stay here for a few more days in the future. I hope the celestial venerables won't mind that I'm a bother. That's definitely not a problem. You can stay at our builder tree for as long as you want. We will naturally welcome you. After exchanging a few more words, Celestial Venerable South Pole Firewood left. His goal was very simple. Firstly, he wanted to test Long Chen. Secondly, he wanted to entice Long Chen to help. However, what he didn't know was that the Blue Flame Holy Sage was just the beginning. Long Chen was already looking for his second target. Very soon, he found this target. That's one of the 5 heavenly venerables. The demon Saint Venerable is so evil. Why would he help the demon Saint Venerable? Everyone couldn't help but worry about Lingxi's safety. At this moment, the heavenly venerables looked at Lingxi with fiery eyes. In their eyes, Lingxi would not be able to escape this calamity. But at this moment, Lingxi suddenly smiled. In the blink of an eye, she disappeared into thin air in front of the heavenly venerables. Me. The South Pole Heavenly Venerable Firewood stood in place, stunned. This is the space law. She disappeared in an instant. The entire Builderwood Divine Tree could no longer find her trace. Even if this was the space law, it couldn't reach such a level. She really disappeared into thin air. The perception of the Heavenly Venerables was enough to cover the entire Builderwood Divine Tree. Unfortunately, Lingxi disappeared just like that. Anger, grievance, and depression. Damn it. The South Pole Heavenly Venerable Firewood roared. Divine fire descended from the sky. Under his anger, countless territories were rained down. Especially below him, countless living beings were instantly drowned in flames. This time, under the South Pole Heavenly Venerable Firewood's rage, hundreds of thousands of living beings were directly killed in the rain of fire. The demon Saint Hall below was directly burned to the ground, turning into scorched earth. South Pole. The central Heavenly Venerable Desolate Wood arrived at this time and glared at him. Only then did the South Pole Heavenly Venerable Firewood suppress his anger. The 5 Heavenly Venerables gathered together again. I saw it. This woman is too strange. She actually disappeared into thin air. What kind of law is this? She might not have disappeared. Let's look again. Maybe she is nearby. The 5 Heavenly Venerables started searching desperately. The death of the demon Saint Venerable could not be concealed this time. Many people were bound to know about it. However, after 2 hours, they discovered that no matter how hard they tried, they still couldn't find a single person. As long as this woman is still around, we can't do anything. Maybe the sacred venerables will die one by one, and it might even be us in the end. The Heavenly Venerables discussed for a while. Finally, the central Heavenly Venerable Desolate Wood said, the Builder Tree Sacred War is about to begin. This is likely the helper that the Phoenix race found. From today onwards, all the gods will return to the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. No one is allowed to leave until the Builder Tree Sacred War is over. When the Builder Tree Sacred War is over, we will cast an inescapable net and capture these 3 people. Okay. Then, as expected, all the gods returned to the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. None of them dared to leave. However, the news of the demon Saint Venerable's death still spread throughout the world. It even reached the Phoenix race. It was said that the one who killed him was a human woman, a demon wolf, and a creature that looked like a demon. Of course, Zhu Shi knew who it was. The Builder Tree Sacred War was about to begin. Such an unforeseen event made everyone anxious, especially within the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. The demon Saint Venerable is dead. When Wan Qing heard the news, he almost fell to the ground. His face was deathly pale as he thought back to the time when Long Chen had met the demon Saint Venerable. During this period of time, Long Chen had spoken to a few Saint Venerables, but the time with the demon Saint Venerable was the strangest. At that time, Wan Qing had the same feeling that Long Chen had observed the demon Saint Venerable a little more. It is said that it was killed by 3 people. There is one more thing that you don't know. Now, it has spread. The blue flame Saint Venerable has also fallen, and it was before the demon Saint Venerable. It is said that this was done by the Phoenix race. Now, the 5 heavenly venerables are preparing for the Builder Tree Sacred War. There are only 20 days left. Alright, let's hope that we can win. Wan Qing quickly returned to Long Chen. He saw that Long Chen was resting with his eyes closed, concentrating on his cultivation. Looking at his calm appearance, no one would suspect that he was the one who killed the demon Saint Venerable. You're back. Long Chen opened his eyes and smiled at him. Saint Venerable Yang, I want to ask you, go ahead. Demon Saint Venerable, is it you? At this point, Wan Qing did not dare to continue. He looked at Long Chen in awe. Long Chen smiled and said, what do you think? Seeing that Yang Kai had no intention of killing him, he remembered that he had seen Yu Yan recently. Seeing her miserable expression, it was obvious that the Green Lightning Saint Venerable did not treat her well. He gathered his courage and asked, when will it be the Green Lightning Saint Venerable's turn? Soon. Can I help? Wan Qing asked nervously. Of course, this time, I still have to rely on you, Wan Qing. Long Chen stood up, patted him on the shoulder, and said, in life, you have to be bold enough to do what you desire. When the opportunity comes, if you still cower like a turtle when it's time, then you're a coward, and you're living in pain. Thank you. Wan Qing's eyes were filled with tears. When the time comes, I will tell you exactly what you want to do. For now, you just have to wait patiently. Long Chen smiled faintly. The holy battle of the Builder Tree was coming soon. Long Chen planned to launch the final attack on the Builder Tree Saint Spirit, the Origin Dragon Soul, on that day. There were still 20 days left. He just had to wait patiently. In any case, Soi Eon had already recovered to the Perfection Realm God King realm. Chapter 2808. The Blue Flame Saint Venerables and the Demon Saint Venerables allowed Mo Xiaolang and Soi Eon to rise to a higher level. Their battle prowess increased greatly. Now, Mo Xiaolang, Soi Eon and Lingxi all had battle prowess that was close to Long Chen's. In the future, Kitten, Yang Lingqing and even Zhu Shi might join them. Of course, this included Long Chen's unforgettable Li Xuanji. Of course, this was a story for another time. As time passed, more and more people in the God Nation became true divine dragons. The first batch of ultimate divine dragons, the Dragon Emperors, were also growing stronger. Gradually, they had strength that was close to that of a God King. Some were even comparable to primordial God Kings. More and more God Spirit level experts appeared in the God Nation. The dragons were getting bigger and bigger. Long Chen wasn't completely sure about the Supreme Divine Dragons yet. He wanted to observe for a period of time. Anyway, this couldn't be rushed. After all, he had yet to obtain the Origin Dragon Soul of a Supreme Divine Dragon. There was less than half a month left before the Divine Tree Sacred War. Lingxi was improving steadily. It wouldn't be long before she mastered the next heavenly rule. At that time, she would probably enter the Great Circle God King realm. God Emperor Ling Su's final destination would most likely be the Extreme God Emperor. After all, Lingxi still had 11 types of heavenly rule. She still had about 2/3 of them left. First, it was the One Heart of Heaven. Then, she learned 5 in the Origin Dragon Palace. Then, during the 5 years on the Massacre Dragon boat, she learned another one. Out of a total of 18 types of heavenly rule, she had already learned 7. As for Longchen himself, he was waiting for the last chance. If he wanted to obtain the Origin Dragon soul, he had to become a great circle god lord. Zhu Shi, where are you trying to escape to? Behind her were 5 brilliant lights. They were red, white, purple, cyan, and yellow. The Phoenix clan had 5 types of pure-blooded phoenixes, which were the fiery red vermilion bird, the cyan wan, the white swan, the yellow swanni, and the purple swanni. They were all good at unique phoenix rules, such as benevolence, righteousness, propriety, filial piety, and wisdom. At the same time, each of them was good at a different rule, such as vermilion bird's fire, and swanni's water. The 5 dazzling lights chasing after Zhu Shi were actually the 5 saint emperors of the Phoenix race, the leaders of the 5 sacred clans. It's over, I'm done for. Zhu Shi's little face was taut and full of worry. She mustered all of her strength to escape, but she had already been discovered by the 5 saint emperors and was about to be caught. Heavens, why am I, Zhu Shi, so unlucky? As soon as she finished speaking, the vermilion bird emperor grabbed the back of her neck and lifted her up. He said angrily, Zhu Shi, you're not young anymore. Why are you still acting like a child? Now that the Phoenix clan needs you, you're running away because you're afraid of pain. Beside her were the Swan Chi Emperor, the Swan Chi Emperor, the Cyan Luan Emperor, and the Swan Emperor. The Cyan Luan Emperor was a gentle and lovely woman. She gently took Zhu Shi away and rebuked, don't scare little Zhu Shi. Then, she stroked Zhu Shi's head and said, little Zhu Shi, activating the Phoenix bloodline will bring you endless benefits. Not only will it make you stronger, but it will also bring you endless possibilities in the future. You will become a divine phoenix, the ruler of our Phoenix clan. We spent so many years of effort to create you, and we're about to succeed. You can't cause any trouble. If you cause any more trouble, we'll get angry and lock you up for 10,000 years. Are you afraid? 10,000 years. Zhu Shi's eyes widened. She was scared out of her wits. The Cyan Luan Emperor understood her the best. I'm not sure about that. Seeing that this little girl was most concerned about this problem, the Saint Emperors were speechless. Anyway, it was useless to say anything to Zhu Shi, so they directly brought her back to the Holy Divine Hall. From today onwards, the Holy Divine Hall will be closed until we come out. The 5 Saint Emperors gave such an order. The Builder Tree Sacred War was about to begin. Everyone in the Phoenix clan was extremely nervous. They roughly knew what kind of changes would happen to Zhu Shi. Zhu Shi. Yes, what's up? The next time you come out of the Holy Divine Hall, you will be the emperor of our Phoenix clan. I hope that by then, you will be able to mature until you do your duty. We, the Phoenix clan, do not seek to occupy the entire Builder Tree Sacred Tree. We only seek to protect our home, so that all our people can live and work in peace and contentment. Can I still order you when the time comes? Zhu Shi's eyes turned, and her smile became strange. You can. The Vermilion Bird Emperor was a little helpless. This little girl was too strange, and always made people feel depressed. That's great. When the time comes, I will order the 5 of you to dance in front of me and kiss each other. Pfft. The 5 Saint Emperors almost coughed up blood. They were all immortals who had cultivated for tens of millions of years. As the leaders of the 5 Saint clans, they danced and kissed each other. What kind of monster have we painstakingly raised? The 5 of them looked at each other, their eyes filled with helplessness and wry smiles. But the plan had to continue. They couldn't close the door so much. Zhu Shi was still young. When she grew up and experienced more things, she would know what responsibility and protection meant. The other phoenixes guarded outside the Holy Divine Hall of the Phoenix Nest every day. Time passed bit by bit, and in the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. There was still no movement inside. There were only 3 days left until the holy divine battle of the Builder Tree. At this moment, a 5-colored light shot from the top of the holy divine hall into the starry sky. The 5-colored light pierced the sky, which was equivalent to the height of 10 Builder Trees. For a moment, the entire sky above the Builder Tree's sacred tree was covered by the 5 colors. What is this? They felt that there was supreme authority and divine might in the light. But soon, it disappeared. The human clan was far away, so they couldn't see it clearly. But on the side of the phoenix nest, a large area around it was now covered by the 5-colored light. Along with the 5 kinds of light, the 5 kinds of power were a kind of emperor-like aura. That aura was ancient and heavy, so all the phoenixes couldn't help but kneel on the ground and worship the 5-colored light. The divine phoenix was born. When the light gradually dissipated, everyone could clearly see the most gorgeous phoenix in history above the phoenix nest. She had 5 colors on her body, and every color seemed to be sprinkled with golden powder. Every detail was perfect. The phoenix was a beautiful creature, and the body of the divine phoenix was even more perfect. All the phoenixes were envious and worshipped. Around the divine phoenix were 5 saint emperors. They had all transformed into phoenixes. Although they were slightly larger than the divine phoenix, in terms of temperament and authority, they were not as breathtaking as the divine phoenix. This divine phoenix was the combination of all the phoenix's beauty. From today onwards, Zhu Shi is the divine phoenix, the ruler of the Phoenix clan. All the Phoenix clan, including the 5 saint emperors, will listen to the divine phoenix's orders. We firmly believe that the divine phoenix will lead the Phoenix clan to victory in the holy divine battle of the Builder Tree, build a stable and beautiful home, and protect all the Phoenix clan. Divine Phoenix, Divine Phoenix. From today onwards, probably not many people would call her Zhu Shi. Zhu Shi looked at everything in a daze. Billions of people bowed their heads and worshipped her devoutly. At the moment when her bloodline had awakened, she had indeed felt the existence of responsibility and protection. That was the responsibility of a peak bloodline. The mission bestowed by her bloodline moved her deeply. Fighting for the survival of a clan was such a glorious thing. This kind of mission was actually similar to Long Chen's, but Long Chen's was more tragic and vast. It required more desperate counterattacks, and it was more difficult. She was different from Long Chen. At least in terms of her mentality, she was still a child. Hence, she did not react for a very long time. Everyone, please rise. Zhu Shi was a little sluggish. After a while, she finally reacted. It seemed that the commotion was too great, and it was not very good. Thus, she returned to her human form. After activating the bloodline of the divine phoenix, even in her human form, her temperament had undergone a major change. From a girl, she had become an emperor among the phoenixes. Every gaze and every action was filled with authority and temperament. This was a huge pressure on her bloodline. She had become noble, dignified, and pure. In the past, she could only be considered a beauty. Although she still looked the same now, she was intoxicatingly beautiful. At least, although Biyao was also noble, she could not compare to her. Her hair has really turned into 5 different colors. Tomorrow, at the Tribe of Interest, Supreme Dragons, there would be a post announcing that the first 20 readers who joined the Supreme Dragon Army would be able to become characters in the book. Chapter 2809. Zhu Shi was taken aback. She had imagined that it would be ugly to have 5 colors mixed together, but now it seemed that it was not the case at all. Instead, it was beautiful, which made her very satisfied. What she did not know was that even her pupils had 5 colors at this moment. They were 5 concentric circles. The core was red, the second circle was green, then white, yellow, and purple. At this moment, her pupils were still rotating slowly around the center, like a 5-colored vortex. Greetings, Divine Phoenix. The divine spirits of the Phoenix race were still extremely excited. Get up, get up. Zhu Shi was a little impatient. These guys were too formal. What was so good about kneeling down? However, she discovered something that made her very happy. Her realm had already reached the great perfection realm of the godly king realm. Moreover, she had gained many new abilities, some of which she hadn't even seen before. In terms of rules, the Phoenix rule was still there. Then, there were 5 other rules that belonged to the 5 sacred clans. Finally, there was a black rule that was a mysterious Tao seal. Even she didn't know what kind of rule it was. Samsara. Zhu Shi touched it slightly and only got this information. Forget it. My head hurts. I need a good rest. Zhu Shi thought that no one could control what she wanted to do at this time anyway. Divine Phoenix, don't go. The Builder Tree sacred battle is in 3 days. The 5 divine emperors stopped her again. I know. I will definitely beat that green lightning holy supremacy into a sorry state. After Zhu Shi finished speaking, she ran away like a wisp of smoke. However, seeing that she was running in the direction of her residence, the divine emperors were not worried anymore. This child. The 5 looked at each other and smiled. They still did not know whether to laugh or cry. Fortunately, she succeeded. Her future is limitless. We have succeeded. That's right. With the Divine Phoenix, we can obtain the Builder Tree Sacred Soul. Although we do not need it, it will be a disaster for us to let the humans have it. The 3rd last day, the 2nd last day, the 1st last day, the last night. Tomorrow, the 5 Empyrean Venerables would lead the 10 Saint Venerables and all the God-King level powerhouses to the World Tree Heaven Sacrificial Altar, at the border of the 2 races to engage in the world-renowned World Tree Holy Battle. The Holy War of the Builder Tree was the most important event in the whole world, even for the mortals. It happened once every 100,000 years, and the vast majority of mortals had never experienced the Holy War of the Builder Tree. This was a contest between the dominating gods of the whole world, and it was the final war between the human clan and the Phoenix clan. The winner would obtain the soul of the Builder Tree. The Builder Tree Saint's soul could ensure the prosperity of a clan for 10,000 generations. It had long been spread among the common folk. Tomorrow would be the most exciting day for the entire Builder Tree. Even mortals might not be able to see the scene of the great battle, but they could understand from the sounds, the commotion of the battle, and the vibrations of the entire Builder Tree that the Builder Tree Sacred War was happening. It was even rumored that every time the Builder Tree Sacred War happened, a large number of mortals would be killed by the aftershocks of the battles between the gods. As soon as the sun rose, the 2 armies set off for the official battle at noon. Green Lightning Saint Venerable had already come to greet him. In another 4 to 6 hours, Long Chen would arrive at the entrance of the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace and gather with the 5 Empyrean Venerables and the other God Kings to head to the World Tree Heaven Sacrificial Altar. In this vast night, Wan Qing was a little anxious. However, the sealed boundary was silent and formless. If one didn't transmit information to the outside world, it would be hard to know that one was already within the sealed boundary. Almost every single one of the 7 heavenly rule spirit techniques had great effects. They could be used for offense or support. For offense, there was the heart-shattering sword finger, heavenly domain quicksand, and soul fission technique. The reason why Long Chen placed Green Lightning Saint Venerable at the back and was so confident in Wan Qing, was because Lingxi knew the sealed boundary, heavenly rule spirit technique. Letting Mo Xiaolang and Soi Eon improve was just a preparation for the final battle. After all, this last hunt should be the shortest and most difficult. And this time, it was for Long Chen himself. Wan Qing, your mission is here. Long Chen suddenly said seriously. What? Wan Qing looked at Long Chen agitatedly. His eyes were bloodshot. Don't be like this. It's just a small matter. Don't be so nervous. Long Chen smiled and whispered in his ear, Green Lightning Saint Venerable and the other God Kings are now with the 5 heavenly venerables. Yu Yan is at her original residence. Go find her and bring her away from the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. The further the better. If she isn't willing, take her away by force. Of course, don't let others find out. The Heavenly Venerables are all discussing the Builder Tree Sacred War. No one will notice you. Take Yu Yan away? Why? Wan Qing looked at Long Chen in shock. Long Chen said, "This is the first step. As for the second step, I will tell you after you complete the first step. Don't worry. The further you bring her away, the more hope you have." Wan Qing gritted his teeth and struggled for a while. Finally, he nodded. He naturally understood that he couldn't help much. Since Long Chen wanted him to take Yu Yan away, there must be a reason. He believed in Long Chen because Long Chen had already killed Blue Flame Saint Venerable and Demon Saint Venerable. Others might not know, but he knew. "I'll go. Remember to be more natural. There's no need to be anxious. There's still a lot of time. Your Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace is insignificant. If you leave now, no one will care about you." Long Chen patted his shoulder. Honestly speaking, he even used the Eye of Hope at this time. His goal was to let Wan Qing complete his mission. Now that things had come to this, without using any special methods, there was no way to make Green Lightning Saint Venerable leave the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. As for why he had to do it before the sacred battle, it was naturally to make sure that the 5 Heavenly Venerables couldn't leave. "I'll go." Wan Qing quietly left. He took a deep breath and headed towards Yu Yan. "Big brother Wan Qing, you better not come looking for me. Don't let Green Lightning Saint Venerable see you." Yu Yan panicked. She didn't want Wan Qing to leave. "Yu Yan, there's something I want to tell you. Can you give me a chance? It seems like we've been together since we started cultivating." Wan Qing's eyes were filled with tears. Seeing him like this, Yu Yan's heart shattered. She stared at Wan Qing in a daze and said, "Say it. Leave after you say it. It's impossible for us to be together anymore, listen to me." Wan Qing moved over. He didn't think that he could bring Yu Yan away. Hence, when he neared, he used the power of laws to imprison Yu Yan, causing her to faint. He then tossed her into the Divine Nation. After all, he was at the peak of the Taiji deity realm, a level higher than Yu Yan. Since she was defenseless, it would be easy for him to sneak an attack on her. Success. Wan Qing's entire body trembled. He placed Yu Yan in the Divine Nation and stabilized his emotions. After that, he stealthily left and headed towards the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. "Wan Qing, the Heavenly Venerables have ordered that for safety's sake, no deities are allowed to leave the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace." The deity guarding the gate blocked him. Wan Qing bitterly shook his head and said, "Brother, don't joke around. Those fellows are targeting godly kings. I'm just a small character. If I stood in front of them, they probably wouldn't even bother to kill me. In any case, I'm just a small character that no one cares about. I'd better go out and relax." In fact, Wan Qing was also one of the deities guarding the gate. These people were his friends. In the past, Yu Yan was also with them. Back then, they were all extremely envious of Wan Qing for having someone he loved among the deities. When the Green Lightning Saint interfered, they also felt bad for Wan Qing. "Brother, we understand your feelings. You're right. Even if we mysteriously die outside, the Heavenly Venerables probably wouldn't care. However, you should just relax. Don't go too far, go early and come back early. Honestly speaking, this Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace is really too boring." Just like that, Wan Qing left without any mishaps. As soon as he left, he fled for his life. According to Long Chen's instructions, he fled in the direction of the Phoenix clan. Long Chen gave him more than 2 hours to escape. With Wan Qing's speed, although the distance wasn't far, it was more than enough. "Saint Yang, what should I do?" Wan Qing's face flushed red as he said emotionally. Long Chen said, "There's a tree talisman on Yu Yan's body. It's connected to the Green Lightning Saint. Take it out and tell him that you've taken Yu Yan away. In the future, you'll love Yu Yan more than he does, and the two of you will be together for the rest of your life." Chapter 28:10. Only then did Wan Qing understand. "Holy Venerable Yang, do you want me to lure him out? But he's about to participate in the Builder Tree sacred battle." Long Chen smiled and said, "That's right. You chose this time to secretly take Yu Yan away and leave the Builder Tree. That's the only explanation, right? Only then will the Green Lightning Holy Venerable believe that this was your idea. Also, he will only snatch other people's women. His own women have never been snatched away. This kind of shameful thing, he will deal with it himself. If you don't believe me, you can try." This was Long Chen's analysis of Holy Venerable Green Lightning's character. He cared about his face. He could snatch Wan Qing's woman, but if Wan Qing snatched her back, he would lose face. Even if he didn't love Yu Yan and only wanted to play around, he absolutely wouldn't let Wan Qing snatch her back. This would infuriate him, but he wouldn't tell anyone. After all, this was a shameful matter. Remember, look a little more miserable, be a little more crazy, and throw caution to the wind. You have to be like a madman. Only then will people believe you." Long Chen said. "All right." Wan Qing gritted his teeth. He took out the tree talisman and did as Long Chen said. "Holy Venerable Green Lightning, I, Wan Qing, will take Yu Yan away. From now on, we will leave the Builder Tree and live a carefree life. I know you are about to participate in the Builder Tree sacred battle and won't have time to chase after me. That's why I dared to bid farewell to you. At the same time, I, Wan Qing, will make you pay for the harm you've caused me and Yu Yan. If Holy Venerable Green Lightning wanted to chase after him, he would do it himself." This matter was so embarrassing. Given his character, he definitely wouldn't let anyone know about it. This was Long Chen's understanding of his character. Although he was smart and cunning, he cared too much about his face, especially in this aspect. "Where are you going?" "We are about to set off." The 5 heavenly venerables were puzzled when they saw that Holy Venerable Green Lightning was about to leave. Holy Venerable Green Lightning waved his hand. "Just a small matter. Don't worry. You guys set off first. I will catch up in a while. Qingdian, don't mess around. Have you forgotten about blue flames and the demons?" Green Lightning Saint Sovereign smiled and said, "Of course I know. However, the place I'm going is near the Builder Tree Sacred Heavenly Palace. If something really happens, you two will arrive in a quarter of an hour. Besides, if the two of you can't do it, I can't either. Alright, don't worry too much about it. I'm leaving. Qingdian, focus on the important matters. Don't act recklessly." The celestial venerables stood up. Sacred Venerable Green Lightning was very vexed. A mere ant actually dared to use the holy war of the world tree to run wild on his head. That was fine. Because of the 3 mysterious people, the 5 heavenly venerables were like turtles, forcing everyone to hide in the wood god's celestial palace. Since when did they need to be in such a sorry state? He felt that the 5 celestial venerables were making a mountain out of a molehill. For example, those 3 mysterious people. They could have used 1 or 2 god kings as bait to lure those 3 people over and then killed them. Of course, he felt that these old fellows were too timid. 5 dignified celestial venerables were actually scared to this extent by 3 small fries. This is too funny. Where did the courage you guys had when you were young go? What a joke. Green Lightning. The celestial venerables were a little angry. Green Lightning Saint Sovereign had always been impudent, but they were used to it. But this time, he was still acting recklessly on a major matter. The celestial venerables were also angry. Just like that, the 2 sides quarreled. After saying a few words, Green Lightning Saint Sovereign flicked his sleeves and left. He left behind a sentence, "Don't worry. I won't die in front of you old fellows." After saying that, he rushed out of the Builder Tree Divine Heavenly Palace. The 5 celestial venerables were so angry that they almost vomited blood. This unfilial son. It's all your fault. This is the result of spoiling him. They were about to set off soon. The celestial venerables remembered that proper business was more important, so they didn't quarrel with each other. Of course, they didn't feel that anything would happen to Green Lightning Saint Sovereign if he went out for a while. It was just that they weren't too satisfied with Green Lightning Saint Sovereign's attitude. After all, the Builder Tree Sacred War was such an important matter, yet he still disobeyed orders. This was indeed a little too much. After the Sacred War is over, we should teach this guy a lesson and make him change his attitude. Otherwise, it won't be a problem if he continues like this. That's true. Honestly speaking, Green Lightning Saint Sovereign was about to explode from anger. A trash that had just become a deity not long ago. He had enjoyed his woman and humiliated him. This was a normal thing. After all, in the eyes of Green Lightning Saint Sovereign, even 100,000 Wan Qing wasn't as valuable as him. But the other party actually dared to take advantage of the Builder Tree Sacred War to snatch that woman back. Moreover, he even said some harsh words to him. Honestly speaking, he had no interest in that woman at all. But he had a rule. Women that he had enjoyed before, as long as he abandoned them, he would basically erase them. This way, other men wouldn't be able to obtain her. He was preparing to erase that woman, but he temporarily couldn't think of a replacement target. Hence, he kept her. But she had actually been snatched back. If news of this were to spread, he would lose all face. Indeed, just as Longchen thought, even if he had to quarrel with the heavenly venerables, he wouldn't be able to resist coming out. Didn't Wan Qing want to act arrogantly in front of him before he left? He wanted Wan Qing to see what would happen if he broke Green Lightning Saint Sovereign's rule. Wan Qing had already arrived in the starry sky. He did have a destinable divine treasure that allowed him to travel through the starry sky. However, it was only at the dream grade. Although it was slow, he would be able to reach another world after a few decades or a century. At this moment, he felt like he was suffocating. He's coming. Green Lightning Saint Sovereign. Indeed, Long Chen had guessed correctly. Green Lightning Saint Sovereign was indeed like this. In the Divine Kingdom, Yu Yan slowly woke up. Big brother Wan Qing, Yu Yan, I'll bring you to escape from this Builder Tree Sacred Tree and go to a new world. Wan Qing said as he frantically fled. Right now, the mission that Long Chen had given him was to head in a certain direction. He could only follow Long Chen's instructions. What did you say? Are you crazy? Quickly bring me out. Big brother Wan Qing, you will die like this. You will be killed by Green Lightning Saint Sovereign. Yu Yan was terrified, and tears flowed from her eyes. No, Green Lightning Saint Sovereign will die. Believe me, both Blue Flame Saint Sovereign and Demon Saint Sovereign died like this. Wan Qing's face was filled with fanaticism. He ran with all his might, rushing into the boundless starry sky. The land underground was constantly shrinking, revealing the appearance of the Builder Tree. How did they die? Aren't they? Big brother Wan Qing, what are you saying? Yu Yan's face was pale as she looked at Wan Qing in a daze. In a while, you will know. Yu Yan, I once promised to give you a lifetime of happiness. I have never forgotten it. Even if you change, I will not change. Wan Qing's eyes were filled with tears as he shouted towards the boundless void. Many years of memories surged in his heart. They climbed up from a small place together, cultivated together, experienced many dangers together, took revenge together, wandered together, and finally became gods together. They entered the sacred land of the Builder Tree Sacred Race, the legendary residence of the gods, the Builder Tree Sacred Celestial Palace. Today, their love was shattered. Wan Qing was unwilling. He couldn't bear to see Yu Yan still suffering. Saint Yang will kill him. Blue Flame Saint Sovereign and Demon Saint Sovereign were both killed by him. Wan Qing said emotionally. Is that so? Is that him? Yu Yan knew that Wan Qing had been serving by Long Chen's side. Long Chen had once saved Wan Qing's life. In Yu Yan's heart, Wan Qing was a powerful and mysterious person. Now that you know the truth, you will be in a hurry to tell Green Lightning Saint Sovereign, right? Wan Qing said sadly. Unexpectedly, Yu Yan shook her head. She wiped away her tears and said, I also want to see how Green Lightning Saint Sovereign died. Yu Yan, you. Wan Qing didn't dare to believe it. He remembered that on the day Long Chen came, she was still in Green Lightning Saint Sovereign's arms. It was as sweet as it could be. She even said that Green Lightning Saint Sovereign would treat her differently than others, and that he would sever all ties with Wan Qing forever. At this moment, Wan Qing felt that he had entered an incomparably silent world. Welcome, hero who is about to take revenge. Long Chen suddenly appeared in front of him. The specific process was that Ling Shi had created a sealed realm within the Divine Wood Palace, and then Long Chen had entered her divine kingdom and been brought here by her. Then, she had set up an incomparably huge sealed realm here. Everything had to be done quickly. Now, Wan Qing had entered the sealed boundary.